You're in charge, Dave.
You're in charge.
Okay.
For a little bit.
Do it from
This
here.
conference will now be recorded.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Open the meeting with public comments. Do we have any? Seeing that we don't, I'm going to turn the meeting back over to Randy Dalkey, our chairman.
What do you got done so far?
Public comments.
Okay,
Everybody's happy.
good. Administrative business?
Okay. Do you want Deidre first? I know she had asked to
Yeah.
have some time.
Go ahead. Deidre, you on there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so are you ready for your report?
Yeah, go ahead.
As of 7:30, we have 584 confirmed, 323 probable, 62 active, 6 hospitalizations, and 6 vital statistic verified deaths. Marion County remains, excuse me, I had to shut the door. Marion County remains in the red since November 1st. The rolling 14-day positivity rate for Marion County for the period from January 3rd through January 16 is 14.7%, 83 positives out of 565 total tests. You have probably, all of the commission has probably been asked to assist us in our point of distribution, otherwise known as a pod, tomorrow, January 26th from 8 to 5. Together with Hillsborough Community Hospital and St. Luke Hospital, we will be vaccinating 170 individuals. This will include Marion County residents who have been scheduled. Please help us get word out to the public that this is not a walk-in point of distribution. It is scheduled appointments, and what we did was we are tiering 65 and older as the one in phase 2, and with our limited number of vaccine, we can't cover all of those individuals above 65. So we started with the older category and we are working our way down. At this time, we are about at 84 right now. So pod volunteers that will be working will also be including in this number if they have not already been vaccinated, if they request. The 7 long-term care facilities, their residents and staff have had the opportunity to receive their first dose of vaccine. Vaccinations to these groups were administered by CVS, Walgreens, Hillsborough Pharmacy, and the Health Department. We will be finishing the second dose for healthcare workers this week and next Monday. We will continue to vaccinate individuals within phase 1 and work down through individuals 65 years and older. Individuals who are 82 years old and older are encouraged to contact the health department and get on a list so that we can schedule. We may not schedule you depending where we're at today. We may not schedule you till next week, but we do want to assure that everybody 82 and older gets on that list. So we will be scheduling vaccine appointments as they become available. We're going to see if it works out and if we can get enough volunteers to work the pod next week. So if we get a significant number or even over 100, we will probably staff a pod next week, but I will get that information out as it develops. Any questions?
Okay, you asked for commissioners to volunteer, and I don't know how many. I know I will be available, and I don't know which time you need me, whether you need me from 8 till noon or 1 to 5 or whatever time you know.
I think Mercy is doing that.
Okay.
Is that right, Deidre?
Yes, Marcy is taking care of the logistics, and so she will be getting in touch with you. I do know that Dave has offered a trailer, and I believe we will need something, either a truck or something to haul our supply stations. They're simply like a tool cart. We have 2 of those.
I thought they had a trailer.
And again, I think Marcy will get in touch with you, Dave, but
There's 4.
that's kind of a heads up.
Okay. So,
I got an empty one.
so do we need to, give you a number? I mean, I'm available tomorrow. I don't know if anybody else is.
I was gonna make a list,
Okay.
We'll just work through Dave Crowfoot.
and I'll give
Okay.
it to Marcy.
Okay. Okay. Good enough, just so
Okay, thank
everybody's
you,
on
Dave.
board here and knows what's happening. How about outside volunteers? How you doing?
We at the courthouse, and again, Marcy's working on that. I'm kind of working more on the vaccine end, but Marcy, I think we might only have a couple. I know Road and Bridge could possibly be tied up with weather, but we would welcome any assistance.
To contact Marcy first?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Any other questions by commissioners? Thank you, Deidre. We'll see you there. Some of us will see you there tomorrow and see how we can get started.
Okay, and I did want you guys to think about this point of distribution will probably cause some employees to work more than 40 hours. So please consider possibly paying that out, because at this point I don't foresee comp time. And then also think about how the expenses for the pods, like the food and the supplies other than the medical supplies, where we can maybe charge that. So those are some things to think about.
Okay.
Thank you.
Deidre, don't leave yet.
Okay.
Deidre says they're working out for charging, worked out so it's not labor intensive. And she thought we ought to start charging insurance companies. That discussion for now or later,
Okay.
or,
We already had that discussion.
yeah, what that's because that's gonna be too labor intensive.
I thought that it was just not to discourage.
Well,
anybody.
at this point, we can't, this pod that we're setting up tomorrow, we can't charge because we did not tell the people to bring their insurance cards.
Okay. Yeah, thank
So
you. Look back at the meeting.
you may want to consider when vaccine, a significant amount comes available and the clinics and the hospitals get vaccine, and we have vaccinated a significant number of individuals. Once we are vaccinating within the health department, they'll come here to get vaccinated. Maybe we charge at that time, but that's something to think about.
Okay. I think if you look through the minutes of last week, I think we just voted.
Yeah, we said not to.
Not to, right.
I'd suggest let's waive it at this point, but we can reevaluate
Yeah.
as time goes, like DG recommended, maybe once we get further down the road.
See how this week goes.
Yes.
But at this point, let's continue to
I
waive.
just wanted to bring it up, so it's on everybody's mind.
Good.
Right now, did you hear what we're talking about? That
Yes.
more or less will continue as is right now, but it could be reinstated that we do start charging once we get everything lined out.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
That's all I have.
Okay, well, thank you.
Hey, Deidre, I got
Yes.
a request from a department head. It said, would you rather have department heads or just volunteers? Does it make any difference?
It doesn't make really any difference. We will take the individuals all the help that we can get.
Okay.
And they will probably be assigned duties as to, you know, what they're used to doing if possible.
And setting up food and stuff for like at noontime, because you guys will be working straight through.
Yes, we're only taking a half an hour, so, and with that, we aren't scheduling appointments for a half an hour. So lunches, like if you're in observation, you obviously will take lunch a little bit later. When depending on what station you're at, it's going to be kind of staggered.
Okay.
So, and we really don't want people to leave.
What's the time frame? 10, 15 minutes? Or 30 minutes?
For lunch?
No, for people to leave. Oh, you don't want workers to leave. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Okay.
for workers to leave, but we are scheduling 6 people every 10 minutes, and then they have to be observed once they've had their vaccine for 15 minutes.
Okay. Is there any questions by anybody?
I think it'll make a lot more sense once you
Yes.
come
Yes.
and work your shift.
It's just a domino effect.
Yeah.
Greeters will go take a break first and then
Yep.
on up the chain, and then they'll come back in.
Okay, what does the commission look like for food for tomorrow?
It's gonna be in Hillsborough, so
I'm not available.
Yeah, but I'm right now just asking, do we set up an account and?
TV's,
They're working
Mars?
they're working on the actual ordering of the food and everything. She just wants to know what budget it's coming out of.
Okay.
And I would say that you could pay that out of risk management
Okay.
if you wanted to, commissioners.
Good. That sounds good.
That makes sense.
We'll try that first week, see. Be risk management, Deidre. That's where we'll take.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All righty, good luck.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Right.
All right. Administrative, you're still there.
Okay. Just an informational item that I have scheduled the pay plan discussion on February 8th at 1 p.m. with McGrath. Okay. We do have change orders. There's quite a few in here today.
Then I didn't ask her the question I wanted to, forgot about it.
we just get together with you after the meeting on
Yeah,
schedule.
to the meeting. 8:30 to 12 and 12:30 to 5.
I'll do 12:30 to 5.
I think we just need 2 people.
I don't think I have any problem doing the whole day.
I was gonna
It's
be
a
there.
long drive.
Yeah, it's a long drive for me. And if somebody shows up, I can step out
You
if,
can find something to do. Huh?
yeah, no problem.
Okay, what was it again, 12:30 to 5 to 6?
Yeah.
I'll take first shift, 8:30 to.
My mother gets hers at 9:40 tomorrow. She's excited.
Okay.
So I had to drive her again.
Oh, you gotta take her home too.
Yeah,
that's
with
what-
the weather. Yeah, and I don't think she wants to sit there for that long.
Sit visit with everybody, yeah.
That kind of defeats the purpose.
So they did call somebody to.
Yeah, the process is working really well.
Good.
I'm very
Good.
pleased. In fact, I've heard other counties not so good. So,
The only thing I wish we'd have advertised so everybody could have called in, because I've got people that call me.
a lot of word of mouth.
Yeah.
Suppose you could call your local doctor to sign you up too,
That's how she did it.
in the hospital and the.
Yep, they all
Healthcare.
coordinate. They all coordinate.
And they got all this list together at once and did something shuffled.
We actually had a neighbor call to Ford County to try to get on their list. Because they were just giving them out, and as soon as they got on the list, they ran out.
Florida, people are taking
What?
that, they were taking.
Yeah.
There's one under that, I didn't.
No, it's safety.
Okay.
I like the process, prioritize it.
We did have a comment on the meeting that people are having trouble hearing. I think it might be you, David, so if you could just make sure that your microphone is
Okay.
pointing towards you and that you're close to it.
I'm sure they can hear all the rest of the paper.
Yeah, probably.
salary
Okay,
sheets next?
yep, I have a few salary sheets there for you.
Okay. First one is, I'm gonna try on the last name, but Jonathan Benavides. That's the sheriff's jail. New corrections officer at 1308. Second one is Kershaw and Stevens, Road and Bridge, Blacktop. New equipment operator 1, $2,267 a month. And this would be a salary change for Steve Hudson, moving up to interim Road and Bridge from $3,022 a month to $3,813 a month.
Okay. I have the minutes of January 19th.
Do I hear any discussion on the minutes of January 19th?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion by Jonah to approve, Dave second. Dave, Commissioner Mueller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
5-0.
Okay, in your packet, you have the information about the mileage rate. And as you know, we adopted you all adopted a resolution last week setting the mileage rate at 57.5 cents. And now we have received information just this week that it has been lowered by the IRS to 56 cents. So would you like to make a change or keep the resolution that you passed last week?
What does everybody feel like?
We should be consistent with IRS rates. Do we motion to rescind the previous resolution?
You'll need to adopt a new one, and the new one can
Supersede.
or rescind the
What's the
previous.
resolution number?
2021-01.
The previous one
It was
was,
02, wasn't it?
So this would be 3.
well, I
No,
don't
that's
have one
salaries.
prepared today,
Okay,
so
okay.
if that's what the board wants to do, we'll prepare a new resolution.
Okay.
And have it ready for the next meeting if that's okay.
That'll
Good.
work. Is everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. So we will adopt it, stay with, consistent with the IRS, the new lower rate, and go with that.
Okay. If I can get it done for later today, I will.
Okay.
Okay, and then we had the other resolution, let's see, that, I think I've gotten things a little bit out of order here in the packet. But the other resolution that we passed last week was to establish these salaries for the elected officials. And when those salaries were figured, we had inadvertently included the 30-cent increase for the commissioners. And so it was my understanding that you did not want the commissioners to receive that, and so we have an amended resolution here. This one actually would be a replacement for the previous one. So this resolution number, it would be 2021-03.
Okay, so I'd make a motion that we pass resolution 2021-03. The salaries are correct except for the commission's salary, which will stay the same, will not have the 30 cents added on to it.
Second.
Jonah second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
5-0.
Apologize for that.
Okay.
give us back the old resolution, we can cross out the yay and put the nay.
You're making it too easy, Jonah. We gotta do it this way.
Lightning in the mood.
That's all right. No problem. Okay.
We still have an individual on the meeting that is saying it's very garbled when you're speaking, and part of it may be your masks. So if you can just be very cognizant of your enunciation and speak into your microphones, that would be great.
Do a yay.
Oh, yes, please.
Okay.
Give you your signs.
I get to be the double check guy that needs to be.
Okay, in your packet, you also have another encumbrance. We did not have this one previously, but this is for a security camera upgrade in the jail facility. And there is sufficient budget to do the encumbrance as listed here, with $40,000 coming from the 2020 jail budget, $13,500 coming from the previous year, like the 2020 sheriff's budget, and then the jail bond and interest, the sales tax money. That's just about the balance that's left in that fund, and this would be a qualified expense to use from there. So that amount is $61,300. So the total project cost is $114,800, and it would make sense to encumber that out of the previous year's budget because we did have the funds available, and it will be less of an impact to our current year budget.
We left the money, sales tax money alone. We didn't subtract on when we got the other.
Correct. I mentioned last week that we did not actually have to utilize any of the jail sales tax money for E911, or we didn't have to use any general fund money for elections either. Those two funds ended up being fine. The only thing the adjustments that we made were to the transfer station overage from the general fund. We did do that one, and the rest of them all came out. So
Yeah, I missed
So-
that.
Was this a budgeted item in 2020? This project?
I don't believe it was talked about at budget time. I believe it came up more recently.
I mean, we, at this point, we really don't know, other than we're paying a lot of money just for new security, but we
Right.
don't have much information to go on.
And I do believe the project is in process or has been completed.
They're over there right now.
I mean, we do have the sheriff coming in for a report. It'd be kind of nice to get some additional information about what we're doing over there.
Should
I
we
mean,
hold this till we hear about it?
I'd be in favor of that, but it's up to the commission.
I wholeheartedly agree. I mean, we've sat here, if this is, I don't know when this project started, when it was put out, but if this is due to the inmate's death, like, we should have been told.
That's information we need to know.
Yep. So, commission, you have two that says hold till, how does the rest of you feel?
It doesn't hurt, it's coming in today.
Yeah. Okay. We'll hold that then, if that's, I have the third one, the rest we'll probably pay it. I mean, it's probably gonna have to be paid no matter what, but let's get intact with everything so we know what's happening here.
I think we need to know what we're paying for.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought, well, I don't remember that there was, whether there's a camera in every cell. I don't remember that. But, you know.
Well, and as
I
far
know-
as specific one thing to keep in mind, if you do get into specifics about placement of cameras and things
Yep.
like that, when the sheriff is here, you will want to do that in closed session for security purposes. You would not want to discuss that in an open meeting.
All right, we'll wait, hold this till Sheriff Kraft gets here.
Okay?
Okay?
Okay, we did the resolution, and in your packet, I had provided a draft letter for you, requesting trash pickup services for Marion County residents. So,
Well written.
I didn't know if you had feedback or wanted changes made, or if you're good with that.
Very good.
Yeah, I thought it was well written.
I've got, here's the actual copy, if you want to read it on paper, it's maybe a little easier. I did speak with Mr. Hawk. I called him and spoke with him, and he did specify that the letter should come to him,
Right.
and that he has a separate board. They have an actual board that oversees that facility and that utility. So he will present it to them, and then potentially it may have the possibility of going on to the commissioners.
Okay, of course, our signing and general feelings is very well written, and we're moving on with Senate, okay?
So just to verify, they actually are gonna need to know now, like here pretty soon, for sure which commissioners are helping. And we have 4 commissioners assisting tomorrow, correct?
Yes,
Okay,
we got 3 for each shifts, so we
okay.
can.
I don't need the shifts or anything, I just need,
Numbers.
yes. And,
As long as there's just 2 per shift, we don't have to notice it.
We've got, you need names now?
no, I think I have the name. For those of you,
It basically covers from 2 all day.
for those of you that are actually helping, could you please put a mark in one of these columns, and this would be for yourself, and then I'll take that back to them so they have. This is just something to help them with their logistics planning.
Yeah.
Tina,
Yes.
I'm sorry, this is Brad. I also let Deidre know I would come over and help tomorrow.
Okay, so in the morning or evening, afternoon shift, Brad?
Morning, I have time until 3:30, and I don't plan to go back to Newton. I have to go to Harrington after that, so I plan to just come in the morning and stay till I have to, leave in the afternoon. So should be there for all morning, and then as much of the afternoon as that will cover.
Okay, we'll put you down on that then.
Sticky note.
Okay, sorry to interrupt, I just had that question come to me and didn't deal with that.
Yeah, Mr. Hawk's letter back in.
No. Yes. And then the last thing that I had on here is a grant for Safe Kids that needs approval and the chairman's signature. And I left the hard copy at my desk, so I'm gonna have to go get them.
Does everybody understand the grant that we're talking about here? For Safe Kids?
Yeah. make a motion to approve the grant application through the health department for the Safe Kids program.
Have a motion by Kent, do I hear a second? Second by Dave Mueller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 5-0. Hey, Dave, thank you.
There's 2 copies of that for you to sign. You
Yep,
see.
gotcha. I need that. I would pass it on if I didn't. Okay, wait here just a minute till the secretary gets back. County clerk.
Sorry about that.
It's all right. That's the end of your business?
It is.
Okay. Mr. Bryce with Road and Bridge?
Morning.
Morning, Bryce.
Main thing I have today is area and transport fuel bids. On the area fuel bids, F's was low, areas 1 and 3, and MFA was low in area 2. Like typical, the way things are going, should be one more for Tina, I believe.
Yeah, I got you.
Yep.
Everybody have time to look it over and confirm Mr. Bryce's math there? Do I hear a motion?
Motion for EPS to have area 1 and 2 and MFA to, or 1 and 3, MFA to have area 2.
Yeah, motion by Jonah for F for 1 and 2, and who's for area 2?
MFA.
1 and 3 and MFA for 2. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a second by Kent. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 5-0.
Transport fuel bid should go to co-op.
Look, that's fine.
I'll make a motion to approve the transport fuel bid to Cooperative Grain Supply in the amount of $15,369.50.
Second.
Have a motion by Kent to approve cooperative for $15,369.50. Second by Jonah. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 5-0.
We didn't really have too much else, give you some updates, what's going on, continuing on rock. Steve started in with the guys today. Did hear from the rock crushing guys, they will move in probably next week, next Monday, get started. They feel that they will be done by the 1st of April, no problem, barring any problems. He did confirm again that he's actually going out to either rent or buy a second magnet, just to make sure that he gets as a requirement. So everything seems on the up and up there. We're continuing to haul rock. Hopefully this week, barring any too much rain here, we're going to try to do a bunch of culvert and or bridge cleanup on 290th. We've got some areas all the way along there that have flooded in the past, and so hopefully we can try to mitigate or eliminate those areas. getting calls in. We also have an area on Remington, north of 240th that floods. We're trying to get some fiber optics moved. Other than that, kind of plugging away. We got everything ready for snow plows, and I guess fortunately it sounds like we're not gonna have to use them. So, but other than that, working on the tickler, hauling rock, things to that effect. So, does you guys have anything else?
I have 2 questions.
2 questions.
First one is, do you have an area contractor working for you today?
An area contractor.
Is a local contractor working? Have you hired a local contractor to do something for us today? Or this week or anything?
Not that I know.
Okay. All right.
Why, what's?
I just heard there was a local contractor doing something for us, and I said, I don't know nothing about it.
Well, unless it's the NRCS job, north of Forest on that flood, on that stream bank replacement. I mean,
that'd be
okay.
That could be it.
Okay.
I don't know.
They started last week, and we're going to work today because of the mud.
Okay.
So,
well, that's.
Yeah. And that was the other one I was going to do was we did haul a lot of material in for them yesterday. We have more to haul in, but.
Okay.
So.
How about you hauled it in Friday?
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah. Okay. So they're starting on. You said the Lawrence one was the first one.
Yes, they started last Monday or Tuesday.
Okay. And, again, rock budget, hauling rock, and also how you're divided out through the county. I'd like to make sure that we see something.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're down to maybe 1 or 2 loads left for the 2,000 tons at the Lincolnville stockpile, and I think they were up to some of 20 loads over at Durham, which would be approximately 500 tons. So we're going to limit those to 2,000 tons, and that would be the Coffee County East and Half Road Rock. Yeah. Yep. We're still working on a place down south. We may talk to Gossel or somewhere over there, try to get some places or something like that. So we'd like to get something kind of set up more on a permanent basis where we can. So, but nope, plenty aware of that.
Okay. And if I was to ask you for 2020 list of the rock that we spread in the county, how would you go about giving us that to us?
I can make you a map if that's what you want.
I just wondered, whether it's tons over in southwest quarter, southeast quarter.
Honestly, we try to put the rock where it's needed the most. And to say that a road that doesn't have any rock on it may need more. We're trying to work with the issue of especially like Pawnee going up to Limestone or up that way. Trying to do a small rebuild on the shoulders and stuff like that before we go back with a good rock. But we try to get to it where we can. But like I said, I can come up with a best case scenario or our plan putting rock down this year. Really don't have anything specific yet, but obviously like you said before, making sure the budget is taken care of.
Were you asking if there's a report that can be generated out of the system, like the STAR system, of where rock and the amount of dollars that was spent from the 2020?
Oh, for 2020. I'm sorry. Yeah, we can pull that up. Whatever. I mean, the STARS program will tell you rock was put down on each road and when and whatever else. I mean, if that's what you want, we can sure get that.
That's all.
Okay.
That's a pretty lengthy report. I've seen one before.
Yeah.
I mean, what I'm getting at is still being said. Well, the south gets more than the north gets more than the south.
Sure.
I'm just trying to prove that to the customer. And when you say we're putting more on the rock where it needs to be, I understand that too, because we're sitting in here and that's understandable.
Yeah.
But yet, to the taxpayer, they sometimes say, well, I'm sorry, but we need some down here too. So.
Yeah. Well, and that's what we deal with all the time. I don't care if it's culverts, if it's rebuilds, if it's rock, if it's whatever the case may be. If we're not within 5-10 miles of them down there, then, but,
It's not in front of my house.
well, you know.
That's what I hear.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. Well, so I can give you that report.
Okay.
It'll be quite something. I will tell you, we received some information back from KDM with the FEMA work. We have to have that information into them by middle of next week. So most of this week we will be concentrating pretty hard on getting that stuff.
Okay, one other question that's been asked, is those two, I'm just thinking of them here. That's been
Okay.
asked. Those two steel culverts that come out, is that what we're talking about up north at 300th or somewhere up in?
No.
300.
No. The culverts removed on 300 and 310 had nothing to do with FEMA stuff.
No, I'm just asking, are they still available? Is that what you was asking, like what we're gonna do with them?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I mean, they're sitting there because we haven't figured out what to do with them yet. They're 71 feet long. We can't haul them the way it is. So we're either gonna have to cut them up into smaller pieces or hire basically an over-length trailer to be able to haul it. Once we start doing that, we're still dealing with the issue of which route do we take them to be able to get them where we need to go. So we really haven't done anything with them.
Are they in good shape?
Yes.
They
Well,
weren't in very many years.
Well,
yes,
I know, but I'm just wondering what kind of shape they're in.
yeah, they're in good shape. I mean, to say that they're probably not as good as what they were when we first put them in, because we did have to take them out. They may have been tweaked, but I don't think they were absolutely fantastic to begin with. They're an old rail car.
So if you could cut them in half, somebody could cut them in half and haul them?
Yeah, we can actually haul them ourselves if we cut them down basically in half.
Okay.
We can haul them on our low boy and let them stick out the back and things like
Does
that.
that still make them viable for
Yes.
a location, being
Yeah.
a short length like that?
Yeah, and that's what we're looking at. We just haven't got to spots that they've kind of got to be a specific location. You have to have a fairly deep channel because they're 10 foot high. If you put them in a shallow channel, then you're mounting up your road clear over the top of them. The other thing is the bigger areas that those culverts will go in have to have permits. So constantly working with Sharon on county and or state permits.
On private land?
No, on ours.
Yes.
Yeah.
But if a group was interested, I'm getting questioned by a group that's looking to do something to replace a bridge on their own private ground.
Right. That comes down to disposal of county property, and the only way we'll be able to do that is through auction or whatever else.
Okay.
We have people that want to buy our stuff, and that's the law or whatever else it is as far as disposal of property. I can put them in contact with the company we get them from. They can buy them straight from them too.
Yeah.
So
But I mean, we're gonna expend money, if you hire the truck, put it out, and this group is a nonprofit group in the county of Marion, taxing entity in Marion County, and looking for to replace their small bridge on their own property.
Right.
And
Yeah,
I'm just
and that's
asking-
the other thing that I would be real leery about from the county standpoint is that if we were to get rid of something to one of these groups, is where does our liability start and stop as to anything? If they used them and they aren't as good as what they thought they'd be. We have the same issue. I've had several people ask me about taking the bridge on Goldenrod once we go to remove it. And I said, well, at this point in time, I don't know what we're going to do with it. I don't know if it can be removed at whole. If it is, you're going to have to sign a waiver. Again, what do we work out? But once we're done with it, we have to be legally done with it. No more liability. So
We got a man that sits here that can handle that.
exactly.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that would be the only issue that I would have. They're still out there. I mean, we've got plans to use them. We just haven't got to those places to put them in.
I didn't realize it was 10 foot. I said 8 foot.
No, they're pretty. They vary anywhere between 9 and 10 for whatever reason, but we just figured 10 foot to overestimate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know what they weigh, but that's the other thing is if you try to load them 71 feet long, you're probably gonna have to have 2 loaders and a crane and everything else. So really, it's to the point where they're not very conducive to move any way you look at it. So
Yeah.
unless we cut them, if we cut them in half, then we could be able to load them a lot easier, so.
Right.
But if they want to, they can get, or I can give it to you, you can give it to them, we get them out of the railroad yard in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Call down there, tell them what you want, you can have them within usually a couple weeks, so.
Yeah. Well, and that would be checked on before they went and hired a contractor to cut it
Sure.
in half and use both, take one of them and, you know.
Well, like I said, they'll actually do that right there and they ship them right to you, ready to go.
Yeah.
So this one here, these pipes here, the 70-footers are kind of interesting because nobody can remember where they got them. Suppose this company in Stillwater doesn't remember. So anyway, they just showed up, I guess. Nobody knows where they came from, but
Okay.
so.
Well, I just checked, because I remember you asking me, you didn't know what you was gonna do with them. And
Well-
so I was contacted by a group that
Sure.
was interested in maybe looking at them.
Yeah, and I mean, they're more valuable than cutting them up for salvage, obviously. Even with the price coming back up, they're still more valuable than that, just getting them shipped up here. But we have plans to put them in places, we just haven't got to there. And like I said, you gotta have a specific area to put them in where you can put enough cover over top of them.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to mention, Bryce is correct. If we're going to go ahead and do anything with those where they're disposed to a third party, not-for-profit or otherwise, I'd want to put together a little receipt and agreement for indemnification purposes that they're taking them, but taking them as is where is, that kind of deal.
Yeah.
And putting something together in writing. I don't think I just want to let it go without some paper trail.
Yeah, and I agree. It just, if we're gonna use them, we wasn't told that. The way it sounded like we was gonna haul them off, what we was gonna do, get rid of them a couple weeks ago. So, if we're gonna use them, that's different. I mean, it's a good thing that we're gonna use them. We bought them already. So, thank you, Brad.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got.
Thank you, Bill.
Is there any update on that Volvo maintainer that went down
Yes.
big time?
Yes. Fact is, we're going down to get it right now. They pulled the camshaft. The camshaft was in good shape, so they think it was just caused by a lifter and a push rod. So we're hoping that's the case. We get it back, we'll try that again. So
So is that a non-warranty return?
correct. Anything past that 2019 or whatever it was a 5-year warranty. So yeah, and that's what I've been saying all along is all these repairs that have been coming up, they're all on us. So, but that will help immensely if they didn't have to take the motor clear apart to, so.
Any other questions?
All right, well, as always, if you need something, let me know.
Yep.
Thanks.
Kayla?
Okay. Hey, good morning.
Morning.
Kayla.
All right. You guys got my report? Okay. All right. Starting here, well, I've already started doing some LEAP applications, and I don't know, I've done probably about 20 homesteads already for people. And I passed my test, so I'm ready to do income tax. And we'll probably start doing those about February 16th. I've had some calls from some people in regards to their $600 check. They haven't gotten that yet. And I just told them to wait and see. If they actually don't get them, then we'll have to file a federal return, which I hope we don't have to do. The crazy thing is this time, to get them out faster, they're sending some people debit cards and some people checks. And they're saying some people are not thinking that the debit card is a scam, or so we're tossing it or whatever. So try to get the word out, that because you got a check last time doesn't mean you're going to get a check this time. So I I guess we'll just wait and see
Yeah,
and help people.
there's
get-
been quite a few news articles about people throwing them in the trash.
Right, yeah,
You get credit cards in the mail, you know,
yeah.
Yeah.
sign up for $50,000.
So I guess we'll just try to help people the best we can and let them know that we can help them recover that if they didn't get it. The other thing, I just gave you my numbers from 2020, kind of what we've done through the past year. The other thing is, in regards to commodities, still haven't got a straight answer, but before Christmas break, every once in a while we have to sign an agreement, a USDA agreement, and the federal government was wanting a copy of that. But in order to be a site, you have to have either a federal ID number or you have to be a 501c3 company. Well, some of our sites that we have, like Pilsen and Lost Springs, you know, these are just people in those communities doing it out of the goodness of their hearts, so they don't have any connection. So I've been I've called and I've emailed the state worker about what can we do to get this straightened out so that they can continue to distribute commodities, and still haven't heard. So the other thing is Lincolnville has decided not to do commodities anymore. So at this point, I have talked to some surrounding communities up there if they would be interested in taking those on. I haven't heard back from them. If they say no, then people will have to come here to Marion. The thing is that we can only do so much here in Marion just because we're getting a lot more frozen food items. Like last time we got like 4 frozen food items and we only have 1 freezer. That we did get from the state. They did have money to give out last year, and so we did get a freezer as a result of that, which is a good thing because otherwise we wouldn't be able to hold that. And luckily it's been cold, so I mean, there's a lot of things going on in regards to that. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. In regards to the senior centers, Durham met on January 14th and decided to dissolve their organization. And so they're no longer, they weren't meeting, you know, since the flood, but now they've decided permanently not to meet anymore. And just the other one is Burns, not heard from them officially because 2 of their main officers, one has died and the other one is in the nursing home. So I don't know if we'll ever officially get anything that they're disbanding, but they're not meeting any longer. So that's about all I had, unless you had some questions about any of that.
And that was on commodities too. I mean, Burns is still doing commodities. There's a gentleman who took it over and he's doing it out of their community center. Okay.
But Durham, we haven't done commodities since the flood.
Okay.
But they're supposed to be going to Hillsborough.
Okay.
So,
Any other questions? Go ahead.
So if you're gonna be getting frozen items right along, are you gonna need more freezer space?
Well, yes and no. Yes, in that if you don't get rid of it, then you need places to store it until the next month. Luckily, how we've now set it up here in Marion, we're pretty much, people are coming in between 10 and 1 p.m. and we're getting rid of it.
Good.
But if we have to take on any more and people don't come, the other thing is there really isn't another space in the Marion Senior Center to put another freezer.
Good. I was just wondering if we could, get an off-site place where someone would agree to store some of that if we did have an overage.
Yeah, I know that there has been, I know in Hillsborough that sometimes the grocery store, when they were doing them, the grocery store stored it for them. But I don't know around
I didn't
here.
know how much freezer space they had up at the food bank.
Yeah.
I know they've got freezers.
Yeah, and sometimes before we started getting, I mean, we've kind of, it used to be when commodities were done here in Marion, it was just like we start delivering on this day and you can come until they're gone. And so people didn't come right away. And so we were having to keep it a lot longer. But now that we said, this is the time, come and get it now. But when we were extending it, then we would get so far out that actually then I would actually give it to the food bank. Just so that, because they're pretty much serving the same people we're serving with commodities.
So otherwise, everything's moving along pretty good.
For the most part, yes.
I guess let us know if you get in a bind with that.
Is there any freezers available? I mean, what I'm saying, go buy from stores.
Well, I'm not saying that. You know, we could contact food bank and say, do you have any extra, I mean, there may be some places to go just in town.
Like not this time, but the time before, we didn't get rid of a case of ground beef. Well, we had the freezer all cleared out except for that one case, so we could store it for a month. But, we got like whole chicken and chicken fillets and chicken strips, and that all takes room, you know. So we'll keep carrying on, and my hope would be that the state would have money again at the end of the year, but again, there's nowhere to put another freezer in the Marion Senior Center. They've got freezers in their back room, 4 back there in a refrigerator. Our freezer that we actually use is up front by a stove and another refrigerator that they have, and it's just, unless we have a freezer sitting out in the middle of the room.
Right.
Need more plug-ins, huh?
Right, and need more plug-ins.
Use one for an island.
That's right, yeah, or something.
Thank you, Gail.
You're welcome.
I know he's out there and he's walking the halls. Sheriff Kraft. He's coming. Maybe. Sheriff Rob Kraft. Call him Sheriff Rob Kraft.
You're next.
We knew you was out there.
Floating around here. Morning. Mr. Herring to return.
Have we got any ice anywhere in our county yet that you know of?
No, just water.
Keep it that way.
Much prefer it that way.
Now they're making tomorrow something now.
Yeah, it's going to continue to do so.
Okay, everybody's here. Go ahead, Rob, with what you have today.
All right. Well, I've got a statement that I want to present. This is because of some past and not so recent past events. Before I begin, I'm going to preface this with an apology to some of the newer commissioners, Mr. Mueller, and particularly since he is just a part of this, and some other commissioners who have not necessarily been a part of this in the past and recent actions. why I choose to limit my participation in the commission meeting. Over the past several years, commission meetings have oftentimes become unprofessional and confrontational toward many of those in attendance as well as those not in attendance, to include personnel, department heads, vendors, the public, and with each other, commissioners. This includes instances of name calling, improper public accusations of wrongdoing, derogatory statements in general, with nothing productive coming from them, while publicly berating employees and department heads and falsely accusing some vendors of improper sales of superior products, for example, the rock quarry issue, while at the same time pandering to other vendors or individuals in posturing. One example, you chose to publicly berate me in open commission meeting for one purpose. Several weeks after the purchase of an out-of-county vendor, the product purchased was far more suited to our needs and a cost savings of more than a few $1,000s. Part of my duties include providing the best equipment for my officers in a cost-efficient manner and taxpayers' money. We have a responsibility and expectation to purchase locally when feasible. However, in instances where it is in the best interest of Marion County taxpayers to purchase elsewhere, we also have the obligation to do so as well. Within a few weeks of your public berating of me in a commission meeting for this, the commission made the exact same purchase from the exact same vendor for the exact same product. Simply making inflammatory public statements for the sake of posturing often occurs and is unproductive and does nothing to address the purpose or nature of the meeting or further any agenda other than grandstanding. In general, this has been the reality and public perception of this board, and why I choose to limit my participation or be associated with this type of government. When I go to training or conferences with fellow sheriff or elected officials throughout the state, I am frequently asked about the commission meetings in Marion County and the way they are conducting themselves in a not so flattering manner while representing them, Marion County. Often it includes jokes about what has taken place in our commission meeting. You have created this statewide unprofessional perception of Marion County as a commission, and it must change. Until it does, I will continue to limit my participation in these meetings as there is no useful purpose. In early December, I presented a statement to each commissioner concerning the jail incident. At no time or in any way since that letter was I contacted in any manner by any commissioner or the county councilor concerning this incident. Yet you choose to publicly berate me for not discussing it further with you. I have been in the presence of one or more than one commissioner in those many following weeks, and not one word or inquiry was made to me. If you had concerns or questions for me, I would have readily discussed it to the extent I could. I was and am available at any time to discuss county business with any of you. You have my office phone, email, cell phone, and work address. The lack of contact or inquiring about this incident, to include verbal communication or coming to the jail for better understanding, betrays to me that you have no more interest in this. I'm available and free to communicate with each commissioner at any time, providing there's not a quorum of commissioners. Yet no commissioner has asked me one question or been to the sheriff's office for this or any other purpose for several years. As an elected official, I and all other elected officials from Marion County are not under the direct supervision or control of the commission. I and we will always try to work with you as commissioners and educate you as to what is happening within our departments, but are in no way obligated to take direct orders of operation from the commission or relinquish the authority to oversee our respective autonomous departments. I have endeavored for the past 40 years to provide Kansas, and in particular Marion County, with fair, impartial, professional, proactive, and responsive law enforcement service based upon the principles of legal, moral, and ethical actions. Associations or participations on my part with other than professional, moral, or ethical and impartial self-managing groups or governing bodies only serve to denigrate those efforts. In the past couple of years, there have been several new commissioners take office, and I hope and pray that the commission can once again become professional and productive in their governing communication with employees, department heads, vendors, elected officials, and the public. I'm not here solely to question the past and also recent action of the voting commissioners, only to educate you as to why I've chosen to limit my participation in this type of governing or being part of this type of meetings. When the meeting returned to a professional, civil, educational, informal, productive status, I will gladly once again visit with you on a more frequent and regular basis in our commission meetings. As the Marion County Sheriff and a citizen, I have the expectation to be able to work closely with you as commissioners toward the betterment of Marion County in a productive, professional, and non-antagonistic manner, and look forward to the day when that once again can happen. I will take my lead now, and you can either prove me correct by your further actions or help to enhance the statewide common perception of the Marion County Commission and its proceedings from this point forward by professional leadership and demeanor. I'm sorry, but it's been building, and some of the recent and past actions have brought it to this point. And again, to the new commissioners who have not been a part of that, I apologize to put you in that. But it's something that needs said. Okay, that's what I have for you today.
We had a question.
Do you have questions?
No, we had a question on the video.
Surveillance.
Oh,
We need to
video
approve.
surveillance.
I'm sorry, I just,
Yes.
it was with the video project, if you can say anything about it. What
Yes,
this-
we've been working for a year. The jail video system over there has reached and exceeded its lifespan and its operational reliability. We started more than a year ago working with vendors to try to figure out some way cost effectively that we could enhance, improve the situation over there at the jail. Cameras frequently drop off. They're still there, but we have to go find them and look for them because they're not where they're supposed to be on the login, and you have to find them in another folder somewhere. Instances like that and other things that have degraded. The analog cameras are no longer quality. Simple fact of their lifespan. We have chosen a vendor and have worked with that vendor closely. This has been in the works for many, many months. We anticipate using part of the remaining jail funds that were set aside for that building and that process as much as we can. I was asked a year or two ago by the clerk's office to try to use those funds up so they're not staying out there in limbo. And this was a very appropriate use for those funds. The little bit of funding that we will have to provide to make up the difference, if any, I think is something that we have to bite the bullet and figure out a way within our budgets, respectively, the jail and the sheriff's office, to make this work. We're not asking for money. We believe, with the money that is in the jail fund and ways that we can continue to fund this project at a no cost increase to any Marion County taxes.
So you're replacing the system?
Not completely. Part of it is going to stay because I can't afford to completely replace the system. We're going partly digital, which is a more newer and upgraded system. It is well underway. They've been there for the last several days working on that. You've probably seen the vehicles there. And it has, there's kind of three parts to it. There's our initial part, which is where we're at now, which we believe we can fund, I don't want to say easily, but at this point. There are other parts to it, but we're not going to go clear to phase 3 in this, because that's the Cadillac, and that's way more than we need. But we will at some point come back and update the second half of that to bring all cameras into the digital realm and provide a more secure server for storing of the videos in the jail, and one that we can more easily and readily access.
So I had brought the encumbrance this morning
Yes.
for them to look at.
Yes.
And I wanted to make sure, because the amount of the encumbrance of the initial request that I had received is $114,800. Is that the amount?
No, I think we're down to 60 some. That was on a phase 2, included phase 2. We had to scale that back because that was out of the realm.
I don't believe that I've ever received any information on what the actual cost is.
And I will have to get back with you, especially on that, Tina, but I believe it's in the 60 range.
So are you now thinking that
60
it would
to
be
90 range to make that happen under phase 1, to get us into the digital and replace the cameras that are unsatisfactory or keep disappearing in our system.
What we're looking at is
Right behind you, Rob.
right behind you.
Got that right there.
Sorry about that.
Okay. Yes, that would be for the total.
So I had, like
The
I had
61,
emailed-
I believe, is where we're at, Tina. I think originally we tried to encumber some from our funds and some from the jail funds. For the total, I believe it's 61 right now, is where the project is that we're looking at. Let me clarify. Jim Administrator Philpott has been the lead on this and has the figures, but I believe we're in the 60s range for this first phase. I think originally we tried to encumber some from the jail and some from the jail fund to ensure that we had enough, or from the jail fund, to ensure that we had enough to do this. We strengthened save last year to save these funds from last year's budget as best we could to help pay and cover this cost.
Right, and so the amount that I had put in was from 2020 from the jail, was just from budget funds was 40,000. Right. 13,500 from sheriff, and then the jail bond and interest, which is basically the remainder of those jail funds of 61.3.
The cost of phase 1, as I recall, was in the 60s. And I knew there was not that much in the jail fund, so we would take whatever we needed from what was encumbered from the jail, what we had left over from the jail that we had saved back for these projects.
I think Tina said this morning, because we voted 4-1 to take some of it out here not too long ago on encumbrances, and I thought there was only 20-some thousand left, but Tina stated that there is 61,000 left, Rob.
Okay.
This morning.
Let me clarify with Administrator Philpott and get you an exact number, and I will send that to Tina just as soon as I get back over there.
Okay.
He's on. If you want to, okay.
I'm sorry?
Jim Philpott's on. I don't know if.
Oh, he's on the.
You want him to comment right now, or?
He's sure, if he can give a number.
Not to put you on the spot there, but Jim?
He was going past him.
Yeah, no, but I don't know if he's.
He might not have a mic.
No.
Well, probably not. Okay.
So.
I will get back with Tina just as soon as I get back there. And I didn't bring my cell phone, but it was on the meeting.
Yeah, yeah. They're tough to remember to shut off. Does anybody got any more questions?
That was the only thing I think we were.
Okay.
Rob, would you be comfortable in sharing your statement and a copy to each commissioner?
I'd have to think about that.
Sure.
My issue is this is not something that needs to be put into the paper.
No, but I'm just asking you the question. I'm not saying you have to.
If you would, by providing each one a written copy, then it becomes public. Am I correct?
Yes, especially if you do it, over right here, if you hand us a copy, yes, it would become public.
Yes.
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 It probably already is public because you've read it out in a
Well,
public meeting.
Correct,
Yeah.
but not in the printed version. And I can apologize, but.
Maybe I should state, if myself or another commissioner would ask for one of those, would you consider it?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
And at any time, I will gladly speak with any commissioner or commissioners up to 2 at a time, so that it's not a quorum. Over any topic, and have a civil, educational, purposeful discussion, non-antagonistic, and move forward.
My question a couple of weeks ago, Rob, is where is the investigation over the inmate's death? I mean, is there any statements made?
It can't get out of hands.
Yeah, so nothing's come back yet?
No.
Okay. That's, because if somebody sues us, we'll all be involved anyway. I mean, all of us.
You'll know as soon as I do.
Yeah.
I pray, I mean, it was a tragic incident for the family, for all those involved. I'm gonna quit there.
Yeah. Yeah, well, as long as, we just haven't heard nothing, we didn't know whether it was a.
I have a phone, I have an email, I have an office, and you're more than welcome at any time to come over. We have seen, I have been in contact with more than one commissioner. Since that time, nothing had been said, inquired, or questioned, until that day in the commission meeting, which was a little bit uncalled for, I believe, and that is what prompted this statement.
Why is it uncalled for?
The way it came about, and I'm not going to go down that road here. What I said was what I said. I stand by it.
We can all meet with you privately if we choose to.
I want to move forward in a professional manner. Let's accomplish something good for Marion County. I think that's what we all are in this business for. And that's my goal and desire. So,
I just guess I have a little difference in feelings on this because it is a public deal. It is public, period, and so that's all I'm asking for is public information, and that's.
I will gladly give you public information.
Yeah.
Ask in a productive, non-confrontational manner. And I will give you what I can give you.
Yeah, and that's all expected.
As far as legalities, you know, with investigations and such, I will always do that. I have no reason not to.
Okay, thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
There's the amended mileage rate. You need a vote on it?
You do need to adopt that resolution.
Make a motion to adopt resolution 2021-04 for the mileage rate that was discussed, where everybody else was on there. Commissioner stayed the same, but the others got the 30 cents.
No, this is for the 56
Oh, 56 cents, okay, yes.
Yes,
Okay.
sorry.
For the 56 cents mile for, yes, resolution here, down here. Excuse me, I was on the wrong topic. 56 cents per mile is what the IRS is, and that's what we will adopt, same thing. All those in favor? Do I have a second? Do I have a second?
I got a second.
Okay, Joe, a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed.
double check.
On yays?
Yeah.
All right. Endless building discussion.
Well, I wasn't directly named on the agenda, but I'm here. I'm happy to answer any questions. I don't know what, if somebody's taking the lead. It's on the agenda. So.
Well, I think it was just from last week's discussion
Okay,
that.
that's fine.
It's about we gave time, if I remember correctly, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Gave time to think about the proposal Hillsborough put on in front of us. Yeah.
Okay.
Is there any new information?
I've got some information, just a ballpark number, some of the hundred here. I have, and I don't know, Commissioner Gearing, did you come up with anything through, I had an individual contact that said you were looking for some numbers as well.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to just make sure they got in touch with you, so.
Okay, and they did not get back to me with any numbers? I don't know if they got.
I called them this morning and said,
Okay.
did you get anything? And they said it roughly between 145 to 155 per square foot.
Okay.
And that doesn't include any utilities.
Sure.
That doesn't include anything that, because Hillsborough is going to provide it at that location.
Sure, I understood.
Per square foot. Yeah.
And so we've spoken with two different entities as far as, and what I'm doing is I'm not asking anybody for a bid. I'm asking for a ballpark price so we know what we're looking at. I did speak with the gentleman that you spoke with. I wanted to make sure he had the same information the other gentleman did. That way, we just didn't get too far off numbers.
Right. I directed him to you because I don't know how your layout is in your head. I don't
Sure,
know.
and I shared a drawing with him. I think he has exactly what the other gentleman has. And again, it's not a bid thing, it's just let's get a price. So I did come up with a new price. One thing that has come into question a little bit is square footage overall. I think some general citizens as well as the media has wondered why the size that it is. I do have a drawing that is, it's 45 feet by 50 is garage. The living area is 35 by 50. That's for 3 adults plus, that's 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a locker room, an office. It eats up the space pretty quick. The reason for the babying is large. I
don't know who it is, but
the supervisor position would be housed in Hillsborough. There'd be an SUV, there'd be an ambulance, and there'd also be a backup ambulance that could take transfers with staff out of the Hillsborough area, whether it be Durham, Tampa, Hillsborough, could staff that in a mass casualty situation and a transfer situation. We could utilize more people. That's the reason for the size of the garage. And again, the size of the living quarters, I don't believe that to be over. Right now, we're training in 5 guys are training in a 5 to 6 are training in a 12 by 12 room. That's not very effective. If we're going to build, I think that's the time to at least make that living area have a space we can train in as well.
Your total size was 50 by 80?
The total is 50 by 80 with 35 by 50 being living space. And we've got a price, Jonah, yours came in around 150 a square foot, and this one came in around 110, 115 a square foot. So you're looking at $450,000. And that is with a little bit of rock paving for parking, 1,500 square foot for sidewalks, things of that nature. So there is some of that in there. I've got a detail I would share in my office. I would share some information with you. I prefer not to do that publicly, but you're more than welcome that's the price I got there. Commissioner Crowfoot, came up with some information on the other building as far as I guess their bottom dollar. Commissioner Crowfoot, is that?
Yes, we got it.
Yeah. Again, I think you have an idea where my ballpark is on remodel prices. I don't have that off the top of my head. I think we were at 60 a square or somewhere right around that. Obviously more square footage. And then the purchase of the building being 250. Is that public?
It was, well,
I don't know.
I mean, for some reason 600 sticks out in my head.
Sure.
Do we talk dollars and cents in public?
Yeah, I mean, is this a public?
Well, I'm not
discussion
getting to
or-
the exact T, I'm not.
Okay.
I got the offer now.
Then that would need to be,
Sure.
because then you would have to disclose who we're talking about.
Yeah, that's, we're not decided to go there. I mean, how does commission feel, whether they want to hear the exact number that's the selling price right now?
I thought they could sell it for a year.
3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
But when the 3 years.
They would rent it
There's a dollar figure they
for,
put to
for
everything.
3 years, and then rent money would go toward the purchase price.
But you'd be doing a big remodel
On top of this?
on top of,
Yeah.
with their ownership. They'd still own the building.
For 3 years, yeah.
Right. And you'd be making a sizable investment.
Yeah, I mean, they would transfer
Yeah.
everything to us.
Just
How do lawyers do that?
based on the age of it, I'm not saying it needs it, but it probably will. It's a new roof eventually. I'm not saying it's gonna need it at the initial budget.
We gotta-
Well, the way I understood it.
Still the original roof.
Go ahead, Dave, since you're talking.
I said, we got a 35-year-old metal building. It's still the original roof. I don't know if you ever have to replace metal roofs.
I think the idea right now is where do you want to go that way? I sat here a year ago and was hammered down on a building, used building. Total price would have been somewhere around 140 to 150,000 by the time we was done. And we didn't vote for that at that time, because there was quite a bit of discussion not to go with any used building. So by waiting to this time, at that time we thought maybe 200,000, but COVID's hit and prices have went up on new buildings. So I think my motion was somewhere around 220,000, I think, or 250,000 maybe at that time. I don't know, a year ago, whenever it was, somewhere in that neighborhood. And now we're hearing 400,000. So I guess just the commission would like to decide which way they want to go. There has been an offer by Hillsborough to come up with the property. At this time, the way I understand it, I think Lou even added that the property could be adjusted if there was a driveway size change at that time, last week on the meeting. And that the Hillsborough would, I think that was for sale for $1, I believe, on the property.
Yes, and that included the utilities,
curb cutouts,
and the driveway.
pavement aprons.
So now you have an offer here with them that, to me, is so right now the offer is a better offer than we heard a year ago. At that time, if Marion County is going to invest any money, my feelings is that I want to invest on my property and own it, and I don't want no strings attached when it, except maybe they ask for first right of refusal. If we did decide to sell it, or a commission sold it 20 years, 30 years down the road. So that's fair. I mean, with that commission then could decide whether they wanted to take it or, take the offer that was given by them or not. So,
on top of that, first right of refusal, I mean, if we weren't gonna go that route any longer, somebody would fill that void on emergency services, so I'm just saying.
yeah, and it could happen. I mean, what happens if somebody comes in and starts a service and Marion County does not have to provide service any longer? I mean, that could happen. It's not a state law that Marion County, it is a state law that Marion County has to provide a service, but if there's another alternate out there, that's, you know, it don't have to be, so.
Is there something in the works I need to know about?
No. There was a comment made the other day, and I just wanted to clarify that
Oh, yeah.
the emergency services, whether it's us or somebody else, it would still be needed, so.
Yeah, yes, yeah, but the state law says there has to be a service in our county.
Correct.
We chose the path to provide one because.
Versus hire one out.
Yeah, versus to hire one at that
Understood.
time. But who knows what the world's coming to.
Well, ever since I've been on the commission, you know, when I first started, we were struggling with our EMS, and our goal's always been to provide a quality EMS service in this county that can take care of everybody. We started that. We've been working on that. We've got Marion in place. What we've been presented with at Hillsborough, yeah, it's more money than what we ever contemplated. But yet we're looking at we need to be looking at this as a 40, 50-year deal. This is a long-term deal.
Yes.
We want it to be in an excellent location. Hillsborough wants to work with us, I think that I'm convinced at this point that we need to go ahead, start the legal work that needs to be done to purchase that lot, so that we can start moving down the road and focus on what we're going to build there. And so I'm ready to act on it.
The offer is more than, I mean, you can add $100,000 if you go somewhere else on a lot. On a new build, apples to apples, I'm saying, just what they're providing.
Sure, when you're talking about
all the utilities, curb aprons, cutouts, I mean, there's a lot of dollars involved right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I was just, proposing more square feet
To use.
for expansion as far as locations. I mean, the only thing I'd have a problem with is if we do a drive-through garage, okay, because you don't want to back in off the Ash Street.
No.
We understand that.
Okay.
This design has a pull-through, two bays are pull-through.
On the Dollar General, you have to do a back end, but you'd be on driveway.
Nothing?
Oh. I think the proposal for this particular building really got the ball rolling.
Oh, yeah.
And, since I just,
That's kind of
third
what we
meeting
do.
participating in it, I think a lot of thought and a lot of consideration went into that. And I think that's got us to this point. Without that, I don't think we'd be having the discussion today. But I would be ready with a motion, Mr. Chairman, and open for amendments. So at this point, I would move that the county commission pursue purchasing the land offered by the city of Hillsborough on Ash Street for the purpose of constructing an ambulance station. Communications would go through the county clerk, and the purchase and final size of the parcel determined after approval of a building plan.
Second.
So what I'm asking for is to start the process.
Right.
And that process will evolve as we get more information on the building, the design, the size, the needs, and then work together to meet at that location.
To not exceed $1 billion.
To not exceed $1. Have to be part of the negotiation.
To purchase the lot. There's some legal.
I don't think the
That's
construction
what
will
we're
be.
doing. That's what we'd be doing today, purchasing the lot, starting the legal work.
We have
Commitment.
We have a motion on the floor
And I second it.
to pursue the purchase of a building site.
Correct.
Right.
At this time, just with what Hillsborough has offered for $1, to accept that offer. The size is not determined yet.
Correct.
It can be adjustable. And At this time, I think that's it that's really out on the table. And we have a second by Commissioner Becker. Any discussion?
Extra amendment that, and it should go without saying, but the property should allow us to have our own standalone building.
Yes, yeah.
And it should go without saying, so.
But I would accept it as amendment.
I have an amendment to this, that it will be a standalone building for Marion County EMS at this time, and that's an amendment. How to go ahead and just ask for
Second?
a second on that? Who seconded? Dave? Dave seconds, okay. All those, well, wait a minute.
Any further?
First, well, we have a second on that too, but the first motion on the floor was to go ahead and purchase the site from City Hillsborough. At this time, I'm going to ask for a vote for that.
Vote on the amendment first.
Vote on the amendment?
Then you vote on the motion.
Okay. Let's vote on the amendment to the motion that we have. We'll vote on that first then. That Jonah said that standalone building only. Commissioner Crowfoot second. All those in favor of that say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0. Now the motion is that we pursue purchasing the property from Hillsborough for the sum of $1, and all we've talked about, that the lot size may be adjustable at this time, so we have a building size and description. And Kent Becker seconded. All those in favor of that say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0. So now we have decisions to move ahead, and now how would the commission like to move ahead? Because this is a deal that we need to get in place.
Yep.
It is something that needs to happen.
I think
Now,
okay, go ahead.
with that being said, we have not talked with our Travis to actually just see all of his plans on how he's telling us that the second person in charge may be there, housed there. So that raises the size of the building, things like that. But have we seen all the plans to move forward? And as you said, to provide everybody in this county a good service. That is our goal.
I think we should coordinate first with the city of Hillsborough about getting the utilities in, getting that in place. And during that time, we look at some different building options.
Okay. I really, when they make a cut, they've got to know exactly where they're going and things like that.
Yeah, we need the building first.
Yeah, you got to almost have the building before and set on a.
What we're planning on setting there, that way they can make sure that the legal description of the lots is sufficient for what we need.
Yeah.
Right.
The next step would be.
So Travis needs to come up with his dream building. I mean, what he thinks he needs.
I don't know if it's a dream building.
Let's not use that word.
He's pretty well asking
Okay.
exactly what he needs.
Yeah.
A usable building.
How
Chairman
about?
Belkey,
Adequate.
Yes.
I did sit down, Jonah, we didn't get together, but I sat with the other commissioners and went over where we're headed. I think you're exactly right, and that needs to be discussed with the supervisor being over there. But I think I've got everybody pretty well on board on that. You know, there are other options that could reduce the size, but it would include remodel of the current station in Marion. So to me, you're spending money either way to try. Right now, I've split one of the bedrooms, and I have two people in there, and one in the downstairs bedroom here. So it's really not conducive to what we're doing. So I think I've pretty well expressed the need for room over at the Hillsborough station. There are options out there that could shrink the size of the Hillsborough station. But again, it would come at the price of doing some work at the Marion station. So,
Okay. Would the commission like to see a drawing on this project to start with, or architectural plans, or?
Well, I think the next step is to authorize Travis to proceed with coming up with a plan.
Right.
And what his needs are.
I would like to stick with just pre-engineered buildings for
Yes.
right now. Let's not get an engineer or architect involved, and then
Right.
wind up being on the hook for a bunch of architectural or engineer fees.
Okay.
Pre-engineered buildings would come with
concrete
All the drawings
slab,
and that
all the
sort of
drawings,
thing.
all the purlings, you know, inside finishes, maybe not so much.
Okay.
But you could always draw,
Good plan.
and you can come to my shop and I'll help. It's not a CAD program,
Need
but it's,
something like this, it's a rough drawing.
yeah, I mean, we could get even more technical than that,
Oh, yeah.
as far as doorways, walls.
Okay. So I think that's where we would like to go.
Kept one.
And again, I'd like to thank Travis and Commissioner Crowfoot for coming up with this alternative and bringing us to this point.
Kept us on track.
Good.
I really liked I'm not gonna lie, I really liked the option of additional space. Maybe that's still doable, I don't know, but
Yeah.
it's a little rough at that cost point.
Understood.
I would just like to, are we done with this discussion, or pretty well done with this, Travis? Are you done with it?
If you've given me the direction to move forward with design and a plan, I can certainly bring you something back.
We have votes on both of those, right? Correct.
You didn't vote on, having Travis move forward with
You know,
Okay.
boy,
developing
things
preliminary
are
plans, but I don't know.
Leave that up to the chairman as a directive.
Okay, I would make that directive then
Okay.
to Travis, making a directive to you to start with the plans and see that at that time.
Okay.
If-
I do have a comment on the meeting if you'd like to hear
Okay,
that.
yeah.
This is from Lou Thurston.
Yep.
And he says, City of Hillsborough thanks the commission and looks forward to working with Travis and his team. As we move forward, we will continue to be flexible and collaborative to ensure we get the ambulance station we all want and need.
I'd like to thank you, Commissioner, for Mayor Thurston, for being on board with us. We are here to provide a service and for Marion County and Hillsborough and the rest of the county too, and appreciate your participation for what you've offered so far on this offer. So but we plan on giving you a drawing and everything so you know whenever to start. When we get this all set to where you have an idea for your city to bring utilities and things like that. So thank you very much, Mayor Thurston. On behalf of the commission, and I think any other commissioner.
I echo the same thing, Lou.
Thank you, Lou.
Do we direct the city of Hillsborough to prepare the purchase contract, or will Brad take care of that?
It'd probably be best left up to Brad, because it involves legals.
Brad Jansen's on there.
Yeah.
And again,
Yeah,
that's a
Mr.
very.
Chairman, I was just sending a message. My typing skills sometimes cause me my own problems, but are we at this point looking then, as I understood part of this discussion in motion, to acquire that property?
Yes.
Yes.
After we
Okay.
go ahead and give them a building plan, so we know what size the lot is and things that they can draw and make useful, make it useful for this size building.
As long as I have a meets and bounds description of that portion of the lot or a lot, I can go ahead and do a real estate purchase agreement and get that over to legal counsel for the city for review and for their counsel to approve. That would, in terms of the real estate itself, that would be the next step in the process.
Okay. But we gotta know what building
Right.
outlays on the lot and stuff like that before we can finish that out for it, Brian.
Be
Yeah,
50 east and west and 80 north and south.
correct. And I believe, Cameron Dalkey, that when we looked at that property a year ago, and the drawing they sent out, the best I can tell on the satellite pictures, we would have room to build a 50 by 80. I know at that time, and I'm not gonna try and speak for Lou or Ben or any of those guys, but at that time, there was discussion, if we needed to go north, we could do that as well.
Okay.
Because we didn't want to eat into their area to the south. They have a plan, that's great. We didn't want to eat into their area. They had nothing against us going north at that time. But like I said, looking at it, I believe there to be room for a 50 by 80 on what we had talked about. So that's the 0.33 acres and the boundary that they had thrown out.
Okay.
I can certainly confirm that and make sure that piece works.
I would do that in your head and then kick it around for a week before.
Sure.
Right. Make sure that, and maybe even go over and stake it out and see what on the property. I mean, we know where the property's at.
Sure.
just a rough stakeout and see if you like it. That's,
The last thing we want is to be short on space. You need parking, you need room for the pull-through to drive around. We need, don't get too tight.
Sure.
okay. And distance to the building, I mean, we gotta have parking. When you pull a unit out, you gotta have room to set out there.
Sure.
You can't.
And and again, I think that's something we could certainly coordinate with the city of Hillsborough, what they're thinking for setbacks.
Yeah.
You don't want an apron that as soon as you clear and can close the door, you're in traffic,
Yeah, right.
obviously.
Yeah.
And they don't want that. But fortunately for us, their trucks are longer than my ambulances, so they would want the same thing, which sets me further, gives me plenty of space, generally speaking.
Right.
If that's the way they choose to
And
go.
we all know that there's trucks coming out as ambulances now. I mean,
Right.
bigger trucks for.
The ambulances aren't gonna get smaller.
No. So, okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes. Go ahead.
this is Lou Thurston.
Yes.
And now is not the time from our perspective to try to make anything, shoehorn anything in. We want to make sure that the lot that's provided is more than adequate. And so Travis, if you feel like you need a little more space, we're gonna give it to you. We're gonna make sure that you have everything you need.
I appreciate that, Lou. I look forward to working with you.
Ditto.
Thank you, Lou.
Thanks, Lou.
Okay. Now, I'm gonna just touch on base again. This is a building that's needed, and I know that, but I've sat here for many years and tried to come up with a building for storage. And interest is low. I'd like for the commission just to think that if we put this project together, maybe you put two projects together, maybe it's two buildings, I don't know if it comes in, but the storage building is just a shell. This is not a finished building inside yet. But somewhere, we've got a lot of stuff stored for emergency equipment in different places, and somewhere to pull us together to get us everything put in a building needs to happen.
We've got the spot for it.
Yeah, the spot, the ground, the base is ready.
Got the place there.
And so it may have to be repacked. I don't know about that since it's been 5-6 years, but I think to get the emergency equipment right here where we see it, we don't have to run to Hillsborough to get it, and that lot could go, that space over there could go away at any time if they decide to do something.
Well, while we have Travis here, and just as an alternate onto your building option prices, would it be beneficial to know what an unfinished portion of an extra 20 feet or an extra 40 feet, just so those options are available, so that way it's unused space, but you could get it with the building, and that would reduce your square footage cost. It would cause Hillsborough to give us a bigger lot, but.
Well, and I think that's maybe a decision that Lou and them, maybe they don't want a storage space, or maybe they don't want the other stuff.
I'm not saying it has to be storage, I'm just saying it could be.
Future development, now's the time. If you're building, to drive the price per square foot down, if you do a shell of a building, that lowers the price per square foot, and you get an additional 40 by 50 out of it.
Yeah.
30 by 50, whatever. Maybe on that north end. And again, talking with the previous administrator over there and Ben, the building inspector, we were talking that north, we could go north. And again, and Lou's obviously willing to work with us. I personally don't want to go south. I know what their plan is to put their station headed south. If we were to go south for future development, I don't think I would agree with that. I think looking north, another 40 feet there may cost another curb cut, but I think that's certainly doable. Is it needed for my department? Not right now, but in the future. I understand completely what you're saying, Jonah.
I was leaving it as just shell space.
Shell. But with that being said, if you look, if they would maybe sell us more to the north, it's a metal building that can be added on to. If they would sell more lot size to the north, which is, would be currently concrete driveway.
Have the property available.
But you're gonna
If you
add 15 to 20% to your cost rather than doing it now. Especially if you're talking about long-term lease purchase, it's unnoticeable.
Yeah.
Well, it's not unnoticeable, but
Sure.
It's all one building.
Yeah, it's less noticeable.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
Yes,
Mr. Chairman?
Lo, go ahead.
Yeah, again, this is the time to try to do it right, and it makes sense to me, you know, if that storage is needed, that this would be the cheapest way to go about it. And again, we will work with you and we'll be flexible, you know, on that. If we need to go a little more to the north, so be it. Now's, you know, not the time to get sidetracked on that. You know, we're willing to work with you. Just want to keep putting it out there.
Yeah, this decision on this other storage building is courthouse matters and storage for courthouse and things like that, let alone the sheriff, whenever he needs more storage space, he's pulled in vehicles and things like that. And that's originally what we've had designed over here south of the jail, current jail. And so that's what I was talking about. And now I think Commissioner Garing's coming in with another idea to add something over there. I just think that's two different.
Yeah, it's
two different deals
things.
here. I was originally after
You're just
the.
going for 10 years down the road.
Yeah. Well, I'm also, he's still in the room, so I was trying to talk about this building.
And obviously, you know, I've already heard things about the size of the building. If I go much bigger, I don't.
Yeah, I'm getting lots of comments about the
Sure.
size of the building.
And
I'll be
again,
proud with you. That's what I'm doing, man.
And again, I can defend and define what I'm doing with that space, and I have no problem talking with anybody about that matter. So to gain it much, I would.
Then the way that I understand it is, there's a possibility we could look at a 2-building project.
That's what I was asking. Yes.
As one project, 2 buildings.
Yeah. But
which we might be able to get a better deal on too. Who knows?
I don't know. That's
yeah. You still, your package price might be.
One's a shell with not much in it. The other one's a finished building. With that too.
So I think maybe we should start looking at maybe some dimensions over here.
I don't know what steel. You keep talking about steel going up. I know it has.
It has.
It's not probably going to be where we originally thought either. So if we have a number, that's what I'm looking for, is a number, so we can look at it.
Okay, so you'll get together a proposal for the basic operation and then a potential
enhanced,
but another option.
If I can certainly add just a shell to it, but again, I think at a minimum we would maybe ask for that additional 40, 60 feet to the north, not to impede their design and plan. It would still be a driveway. It wouldn't hurt anything other than in the future. Maybe it would give us that option, or even currently it would give us an option, John. I don't disagree. If you had an idea on a size for another location, I would certainly take that and see if I could do some bundling.
80 by 90 is what fits.
80 by 90 fits. Okay. I certainly come up with.
Can't get that full 100.
I can. Yeah, I can.
So
what we left was 50 foot designed to expand to the south. We didn't go clear to the south end of the lot over there. We left 50 foot to later expand. So
80 by 100.
Well, it's whatever common is.
Yep.
Because sometimes if you ask for something that is common, it costs you more.
Yes, correct. Yeah,
So
whatever.
if you have
Yes.
20 foot spacing, 15 foot spacing on the furlongs.
Yeah.
Yep.
25 foot, I think somewhere 20 to 25.
25
foot
is usually standard.
Like
Sometimes they'll push them 30, but I don't know if you're going 80 feet wide, you might get 20 foot bays. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then, you're always welcome to stop by the office anytime or give me a call and answer any questions. If I think there's kind of some stuff going around right now, so if you get comments, questions, concerns, please direct them to me, or if you feel better bringing them to me personally, that's fine, but I'd prefer any conversation involving me or my department, please come to me. So, all right. Thank you.
Thanks, Travis.
You bet.
Is Isaac coming in?
I'm
Yeah,
not sure,
he's
but,
right there.
but
Yeah.
He's right
Rob,
there.
He's
Rob-
right there.
Rob,
Okay. He's rested.
Rob is out there.
He just left. He
Oh.
gave his papers to Tina.
Okay, very good.
I think
Very good.
she's doing something with them right
Sorry,
now.
sorry. I just making sure it didn't get missed.
Yeah, he just took off.
Okay, Park and Lake Department, Isaac had long-term camping spots.
Yes, I was asked to come in today to discuss long-term camping.
And would you please make sure you're speaking directly
Yeah,
into the
yeah,
mic
yeah.
or
You
have
can
it
take your mask
pointed?
off if you
Can
can.
Yeah, can.
Just don't spit on us.
Deal. Yeah, I was asked today to come in and talk about long-term camping out at the county lake. I think I'm ready to answer any questions.
Okay. There is rules that don't allow it right now, correct?
That is correct. The way it states now, you can come out camp 2 weeks max, and then after 2 weeks, you gotta leave for 7 days. Then you can come back, spend another 2 weeks, then you gotta leave for 7 days.
At the current time, we've allowed people to come in and rent camper trailer spots, but for the year, correct? Like.
Yeah, so you're the trailer park?
The trailer park.
Yes, yeah. So that is on a yearly basis. They come in, once they sign that lease agreement, they got the first year paid up front. Then from there, they can pay quarterly, biannually, or annually.
But that electricity is, there's certain rules with that too.
Yes, there is. Like with those guys, the trailer, they can stay, I think it's 3 days, 4 nights, a week, max. And then there's one time per summer that they can stay up to 2 weeks straight. But besides that, it's 3 days, 4 nights per week, nothing over that. They can't rent their trailers out to anybody else if they're not gonna use it that weekend, they can't open it up. There's definitely rules and regulations on that. There's rules on their water limits, they can't run pressure washers, certain things like that have a lot of water. If they use certain electrical utilities, like electric ranges or space heaters, electric water heater, that ups that monthly rent, depending on how many electrical appliances they have in the trailer.
At this time, we have no separate electric meters for any of those spots.
As far as I know, no.
Okay. So, there's some rules that's set for what we do.
Yeah.
And this is a thought that's come about. There is a lot of people looking to do something for what was mentioned for the campers coming in. But, so, does anybody have any feelings on this right now, the commissioners, or have you had some comments from campers, people?
I've had comments for and against
Really?
both sides,
Okay.
yes. More so the campers, we have campers that come out to the lake that want to stay more than 2 weeks. But you also have the downside of that, someone comes out and stays 2 months, 3 months in a spot, kind of ruins other people's potential plans. You get there first, you can stay there as long as you want. I mean, I definitely understand why the rule is placed, and I believe that is why most lakes within the state all kind of have, not the same policy, but something similar. I know there's a couple of them that have, you can come out for 2 weeks, and then you can't come back that month. And there's variations to it, but it's all kind of the same thing. Now, as far as if there are other lakes out there that offer monthly camping, that's something I can look into. I do not know that for sure. I think it all just differs. Now, from my understanding, and I don't know if this is true, I know that it was all, from what I've talked to the reservoir a couple times about it, and they said that kind of something to do with squatters' rights or something is why this was all put in play a long time ago. Now, I don't know the gist of that, because like I asked them, what was their policy for monthly camping. They're the only ones that I've spoke to on it, and they're kind of the same way we are. It's just a different variation. Like he said, they can come out for 2 weeks, and if they come out the 14th through the 28th, well, they can't come back the rest of that month, but they can come back the start of the next month. So it's just a little different than the way we do it out of the county lake.
It also keeps too much, somebody stays somewhere too long and stuff starts getting set outside. And it makes it clean back up.
Yes.
You're getting a lot more comments on the sound. And it's mainly you that are having trouble hearing, Randy, so maybe.
There you go. Now we'll try it.
Sacrifice.
I had a couple questions.
Yeah, Commissioner.
First, what locations would you be looking at for the longer term?
Well, and this was something, we brought this up a couple weeks ago, just as a possible discussion. Personally, I think if this was something that we were to ever do or seriously look at without building a new campground, the only spot I think that would even be up for discussion would be there behind the lake hall. Okay. The only reason I say that is this spot, but even then you're still looking at some pros and cons to that, because if you open that spot behind the lake hall, that is our campground that fills up the least often.
Right.
I don't want to say it's the least desirable, because in certain situations it's the most desirable, but it's usually the last place that fills up. Mm-hmm. So if we were to do it, that would be about the only place that I would think would be a good spot for it. Now, then in the event like our Bluegrass Festival, that campground is flooded. So you would, I don't know. I mean, if you did that, you'd want to make sure the people that are back there kind of understand how that whole event unfolds and that they're okay with being back there during it. But the other big thing for me is, with you have a monthly camping spot where you do any type of long-term, you're going to have on-site sewage, and we do not. So all of our campgrounds, we do not have sewer hookups. All we have is water and electric. So
they're gonna have to.
They'd have to go pull out and use the dumping station every 2 weeks, probably, or so. Anyways, the only sites that we have on-site sewage are those trailer lot spots. So that would bring in a whole nother discussion. And I'm not a huge camper, and I haven't been, so I don't know, if that's a make or break deal. If you were to try something like this, well, I can't stay there a month if I don't have sewage, which I can see being something that is brought up. But to answer the question, I think if it was something that we even wanted to look at, I think behind the lake hall as of now would probably be the only location that I'd see actually benefiting.
So we would have to, we'd have to do quite a bit of plumbing then.
Well, and I don't know what it would all take. I haven't even begun to look into any of it. I know that there's got to be lines close to there between the bathrooms, the lake hall, and all those trailers having them. What it would take to run that, I don't know. But I guess my big question would be, if we're doing this, is it mostly for like the situation with the wind farm, or is it something that we're looking to do long term?
That's a very good question, Isaac, because 12 months from now, it may be back to the way it is today.
Right.
Yeah, my thought was in the beginning, this for special large projects in the county have camping available.
Well, yeah, those guys, they're not going to want to say, I got to hook up my trailer every 2 weeks and go find a dumping station. That just they don't work on that.
Right.
So whether it's wind farm, whether it's any kind of project around, they just want a place they can sit, and they're there until they're done.
And then when you talk out there west of your lake hall, Isaac, we pay for sewage hookups. So every hookup you put in, you'd have to pay the improvement district for it. So it'd be an extra additional cost to do that. Plus we'd have it year round. So there's other kinds of problems out there. It's a good idea, it's a great idea, but it's going to cost somebody. Electric meters and things like that. I mean, they're going to be there. They're going to have their campers running 24/7.
Right. In the summer, they usually don't shut off their AC, and in the winter, they usually don't shut off their heat.
That's exactly what we're facing with this. Even though it sounds like a great idea, like you just said, though, now the electricity is not for the trailer. We don't have no electric meters on the trailers either. So.
But if it comes to, if we're, our emphasis was the start thought process was because all the workers that come in and work on the wind farm, but if they're anything like the one up north, they were scattered in a, 50-mile radius.
Well, it's
It's a line out of
nothing
which
to
drive.
drive an hour.
Yeah, yeah.
Some of the guys, though, they wanted to be on the lake.
Yeah, and
They
some
wanted
of
to
them,
be-
some of them do want to be there.
Sure, but
Yeah,
they're
there's
they
gonna be-
are gonna want sewer.
But there was, the majority of them I knew were a little bit younger and
Mhm.
wanted to be at the city life.
Yeah.
But, there is some long-term camping areas around, Marion has some, Hillsborough has some, not great numbers, but there is some availability as far as that goes.
So did Dave, have your questions been answered? Did you brought this up, correct? Yeah. And
As a service to the, not long-term, but just a short-term.
yeah, I just don't feel that we're set up for it,
Okay.
but
We got the shower house.
The economic implications of it make sense.
Yes.
Just because we want everybody that's working this county to utilize all the businesses here.
yeah.
Well,
Increased Isaac's budget by a couple $1,000 for this year for camping.
Oh, yeah, that's would. So we also hold cardinal campers. I don't know if they do
Yeah,
it anymore.
yes, they do.
But there's different camp outfits that come in different times of the year and hold rendezvous, let's put it that way, and that fills up that area, right?
Because normally those camping groups, that's where they go.
And the first ones that's rented is right to the west of the building, so that they can go to the bathrooms.
Yeah, those camping groups normally do go there because it's a big enough campground for all them to get up next to each other and do that. And I guess that was kind of another question that was gonna be brought up by me was if we did this, and let's say we set aside 8 spots to do it, would it be reserved for workers, or would it just be first come, first served? Because that was another thing I could possibly see being an issue, is you do this and all of a sudden 4 people move in that have nothing to do with the wind farm or any project, and they want those monthly spots. So then what does that do? So, and that was it, I just,
The
just
next
questions.
thing that I see is those campers are getting to be trailers. They're 36s.
Well, and
Usually 30s and 36s, if not bigger.
And that was a whole nother thing.
They're
is
permanent
about-
residents.
But just almost for a permanent residence with tip outs, slide outs and things like that. So,
And behind the lake hall there, which brings up a whole nother discussion, but all those pedestals are 30 amp hookups, which,
30 amps, yes.
yeah,
And the new ones are
80%
all
of your newer campers all take 50 amp hookups,
Yes.
which that is something that, like this past year, we had one of them hit, and then we had another one, the outlet broke out. We've been trying to we haven't done any kind of project, but when we go to replace them, we found out that actually the service that runs to that is suitable for 50 amp. So when they've been damaged, we've been replacing them with 50 amp. They've been going back in and we've been swapping out those pedestals with a new one, but just to try to offer more 50 amp camping, but it's not something that we've gone in and replaced a row or a lot of them. We've just been doing it as we've had issues pop up. But the majority of those, actually that campground there behind the lake hall, all but one are all 30 amp service. So that would be another thing that probably, it depends on what campers come in, but another thing that probably has to be upgraded, I'm guessing, because I'm assuming most of those guys probably have the big campers if they're staying in long term.
well, they can't make the meter smoke that way. Limit them 30 amps, pops breaking.
And that's why you need individually metered too.
I like the idea, but I don't know that we're set up for it right now. I don't know.
Kind of sounds like a can of worms.
I will say though that we probably do need to upgrade to 50s. For all of our camping spots. At some time. And I thought Dale was on a project that was, I don't know.
So I know, and I don't know if this was Dale or Steve, that we call it Pier Point Campground. It's not the first cove east of the beach, but the second cove, that newest one, the one that does not have water. That is all 50 amp hookup, and that's the newest one. So they did do that 50 amp to that campground, but that campground doesn't have water. And so that was kind of the problem you're running into. It's, well, you could have, if you want your 50 amp, you can camp there, but you're not gonna have water. If you want water, all we really have is 30 amp hookups. And so
most of those big RVs anymore have pretty big reservoirs in them, don't they?
yeah, they do, and that's a good thing of it. With the 2-week camping, most of them can go down there and they can spend a little over a week, almost 2 weeks, and without having to leave and fill up. But yeah, the 30 amp to 50 amp upgrade is something that we've been slowly doing. And eventually I have a feeling everybody's going to be running on 50 amps. But all those newer ones do right now. And so we've been slowly doing it. But I think that'd be a problem if you opened it up to the monthly. I think most of those guys are probably going to have trailers that take 50 amp.
Okay. The other thing that you brought up is it worthwhile to think about it going from 2 weeks to 3 weeks? Not for the long haul stayers, but you said you've had some people that would like to stay that extra week or extra few days.
We have a couple out there that I think would stay all summer if we let them.
Oh.
Yeah, and
Okay,
you know,
well,
that's just, we
Right
have.
back to long term again.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, and you know, whether I think if you did it 2 weeks or 3 weeks, if you did it 3 weeks, they'd want 4 weeks. And that's just it. We call them our regulars. You know, every 2 weeks they're back for their 2 weeks, and then they leave for a week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, it's something you could do. I think. Like I said, I don't know what all the policies there or what was in place as to why this was originally 2 weeks, 1 week off.
Yeah.
But most of them are that way to some variation. But yeah, to answer your question, I think it would make them happy, but then eventually they'd want 4. But
Okay, well, I'm not gonna rock the boat.
Since we're talking camping, I don't know how long you've been there, Isaac.
this will be my 3rd summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it's been since this commission reviewed the prices and looked at the prices of the trailer court. That's a hot topic when you bring it up, I'll guarantee it. But at the same time, you got to look at, you know, and they're right, because they can't stay in the winter time sometimes unless they have gas. If they have gas, they do. But
You know when the last time those were adjusted?
it's been a while.
It's been before I was on.
Well, okay, see, there's, I knew
Then it's time, we need to at least look at them.
Yeah, I will say the year, well, before this summer, last winter, I spoke to you guys about us joining the Passport America Club. It's a camping club for those guys to come in. If they have this Passport America card, which we're a part of, they come and they get their first night 50% off, then they pay full price after that. And actually, typically what it is those campers get 50% off their whole stay. When we got a part of this, Passport America company actually contacted me and they said, you know, your guys' camping is $14 a night. That's what most of these guys are paying with their 50% discount. So they said, I strongly advise you not to do 50% the whole time. How about we do 50% one night, then they pay full price. And like they said, we guarantee you nobody's gonna argue with having to pay $14 a night because normally that's their discounted rate. I think we're kind of below the scale, but if you look at it, most of those guys, the campsites they go to do have sewer and they do have 50 amp service. So there's, I mean, we're definitely lower than almost everybody from what I've heard. But
yeah, some of the national campgrounds I was reading here not too long ago are up to $70 to $80 a night.
Yeah,
Now,
it was
not that
pretty
we could ever
shocking.
do that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that they were that high.
Yeah.
I'll get a motel room for that.
And that's what the Passport America company told me, that we are the cheapest campground on their whole list. And they have thousands of campgrounds.
Are they going into town? Are they buying groceries? Are they doing?
Well, see, and you know, the majority
if they are, then we're doing good.
Yeah, and I'd say the majority of them are, and the fact that we're only offering that discount for one night instead of the 5 or the 6 that they stay, I think is a very positive thing. I will say that what we've noticed out there at the lake is over the summer we had quite a few. The Passport America people, we've had a lot more in the shoulder season, spring, fall, even this winter we've had quite a few. Almost all of our campers this winter have been Passport America campers. So that part of it, it's beneficial because during the summer they're not coming in and taking up those spots for a discounted rate. And with that Passport America, we were able to pick certain dates throughout the summer that they could not get that discount. So like all the holidays, like the Bluegrass festivals, things like that, we could get set aside to where that discount is not applied. But I think the price rate is something that very well could be looked at, especially after hearing what they had to say about it.
Any more discussion? And I can think of some other things too out there. Dave?
I'm going to extend it just a little bit because a couple of questions may be an opportunity. First, I'd say we need to review the schedule of rates. If we can have that presented at some time.
Absolutely, yep.
And review those. The second, I'd be interested in if we could do maybe a cost or if there'd be a plan to maybe do some sewer hookups, be part of the park, so you'd have them available, of course, charge.
Gradually.
And then, yes, just.
Like he's doing with this 50 amps, gradually.
Right, but if you can offer them and then at a higher rate, figure it out, a schedule that you get a repayment, and then if that's, and it doesn't have to be all of them, and I don't think everybody wants it. But if you would know approximate number of how many at this point would be interested, and could maybe work with the improvement district just to feel them out and see if they would be willing to work. If that'd be an opportunity that we can offer more services, bring more people in, and by having that sewer, they would maybe be more longer term, buy more groceries, buy more food. I just throw that out there.
It's a good idea to look at, Dave.
Just to look at.
I don't remember how the contract's written up on the sewer hookups, but that needs to be looked at so everybody can understand.
But it is an expense.
Yeah.
Big expense.
Yeah.
So, just a thought.
So, Isaac, I think the commission has any problem with that? I don't think there is.
No.
Just to you to take a look at it, get a cost of, and show us the sewer rate hookup. I think you probably have a copy of it. I don't know. You know, that kind of stuff, and maybe the next meeting you come in, or next court, whatever. I mean, just get something together.
Definitely do that.
Yeah, summer's coming, so we need
Yeah,
to give you more to do, right?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Isaac.
And-
Does anybody have any final determinations to leave it as is then?
Is Brad?
Is Brad here?
He's online.
He's online.
I have an update on the dock.
Okay.
Oh.
That might be worth discussing.
Okay.
That's a possibility.
Do an
I can
executive.
come back. Yeah, I can come back or whatever you guys want to
Alright,
do.
just,
If he's online.
We wanna do Josh and then public comments.
Yeah, let's do it that way. Get Josh. Stick around and
Okay.
we'll take an executive session after Josh and then after
Okay.
public comments.
That sounds good.
Josh. If Brad, we might find out if Brad can be online too. Yeah, I'll let you send him a message.
He didn't fire anything out saying it. At least not to me.
He said it takes a while to type.
Yeah. Morning, Josh.
Morning. Morning.
Morning. Got a truck driver?
Good.
I have not went anywhere with what happened, so is right now it's still the same truck driver that you went after?
It's the same truck driver.
Okay.
I do have his salary sheet here for him. Pass that down.
His name is Darrell Schroeder or Schrader?
Schroeder is what I was.
Okay.
Sounds
Could
good.
be either way. Hired in at $27.73 a month. New equipment operator 1, he'll get a 6-month raise and a 1-year raise. What is it, 6 months is 25 cents or?
I'm sorry,
Is that
I don't know
standard? Is that
because,
standard?
no, I mean, because our pay scale is based on a percent between steps, and if we're not going off the pay scale, then I don't know what that amount would be.
Okay. How does the commission want to handle that then? Do we want to go in and discuss the 6-month raise and a 1-year raise?
Was that a disclosure to him?
I never really said much about a 6-month and a 1 year coming in at that.
Well, we're gonna be talking
Yeah, I was
about
gonna say,
April.
if you're gonna go so far off, generally if you do something different outside the scope of the regular pay scale, you wouldn't plan necessarily on a 6-month or 1 year. So I don't know what any discussion has been or what any offer may have been.
Let's look at this a
So-
little different. We've got a new equipment operator 1 right now. How about truck driver's position?
Yeah, that's what I overlooked that one when she did that.
That's what I was under the impression
Yes.
was, as a truck driver. So,
Should we maybe redo the salary sheet? to
yeah, let's do that, because that's a truck,
information?
that's what he was hired as, a truck driver at that rate.
Yeah, CDL
Yeah.
with
She
plenty of years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's probably health card, you gotta have a health card for safety, I mean, for a truck driver. So, yeah.
I mean, it's not just somebody new that got a CDL either, so I was just
Chris, I
trying
don't
to.
know what the, so generally, you know, if you do a 6 month and a 1 year, it's a 1 step on our pay scale.
Right.
Is what it
This
is.
is
So,
different.
I mean, we can leave that on there, but
Okay.
I don't know where this all falls, so.
Put truck driver at, that rate.
Transfer station truck driver.
Transfer station truck driver.
Okay.
That's a position that it was hired for.
Okay.
Yeah.
That way we won't get hit up. Well, I'm a truck
Right.
driver. I'm a
Right,
truck
'cause
driver.
you do it as an operator, why, yeah, I mean, I don't know what the top of the scale is, but you,
Wouldn't really be an operator one.
yeah. No, it'd be a little different than that.
That's a new position.
Well, it's,
But that's all right, that's.
you gotta fill it somehow. Not everybody's just chomping at the bit to fill some of those positions.
Yeah.
so.
We didn't have no other applicants. So, you've got that going, and he's made some trips this week.
I took him down this morning, and he'll take another load. We had another load, so this will kind of see how he.
Okay.
It's muddy down there, so it can only get better when
Trial
you're
by
down
fire,
there.
I like it. I've been there.
It does, how muddy does it get for them? Do they keep it rocked for you?
They keep it rock, but that rock sinks into that.
Oh, yeah.
Slimy, it gets
so
slimy.
It gets slimy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you still gotta take them to Hutch too. huh?
Yeah, I'll have to take him to Hutch and show him where and how to do that too, so.
Okay. I'm not gonna open up any other subject than what we've got on because Tina's not here, but I just wondered if, I've never been there. I've been there, but I've never been in on where they dump. I've never went back in there. I've been to the station.
That Butler.
Yes, yes.
I've been down there. Kind of curves around.
Yeah.
Well, it's changed since we started this. I mean,
Yes.
that's when I was there last time, when we started going with Butler County.
They got some big hills covered with grass.
They
It
get-
looks pretty nice, really.
Gonna do some starts.
It went from a flat to.
So, I mean, if you decided that you wanted to do increases, you could just specify a 1 step or.
Okay. Again, Daryl Schroeder, transfer station truck driver at $2,773 a month. We'll decide on the rest later. Okay, truck driving, maybe we got a little answer for this and get you away from the truck driving job. What other things would you like to talk about today?
Recycling.
Recycling?
We only have Mary and Hillsborough coming in, and they're normally done by 9:30. We are open until 12 for the public, but we have the green bin like we suggested here a month or so ago. And the public, they bring it whenever they want and they pay their fee and put it in there. When it's full, I'll dump it. Can we take and narrow that window down to 8 to 10 for the recycling?
We've been working with the cities pretty well. I mean, if, as long as, in my opinion, Mr. Chairman, as long as you're all good, then I don't know why there shouldn't be any reason why you can't.
I would like to hear from both cities though.
Okay.
Not just taking your word.
No, that's fine.
That's who we're doing it for,
Mhm.
is for them. And so I think we need to hear from both of them probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify on one point. You said you have a green recycling trailer out?
Yes, it's inside the fence.
Okay, so anytime the station's open, people can bring in
Yes.
recycling?
Yes, sir.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
That answered some issues I had. I can
Mhm.
tell people now.
Yep.
Thank you.
That's what it had some issues.
So they don't have to come in between
Yeah.
the window.
Yeah.
They can.
Anytime through business hours.
Excellent. That
was
really helps.
that was just recent though. I mean,
Okay.
that's only been what, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they just haven't heard about it.
Kind of made that change.
Good. Good. I
Try to do
appreciate
more.
that.
Is there some notice that we should post so people will know that on a website or something?
We can change on the website and put that on the website.
You know, I mean,
That'd
a
be
lot of
good.
people, I'm sure they've had the question, I've had some of those questions
Yeah.
too.
I've had to explain a lot on Facebook.
So, that might be a good thing.
Mhm.
I think the commission had questions too, and you've kind of been waiting for Josh to come in to talk about the transfer station hours. What hours of operation are currently in place, right?
Mhm.
I mean,
Have we put that on the website?
We haven't, no.
We need to put,
I've been playing with the hour before, or, opening at 7, those south windows, so people can throw their individual trash in there. And I think we have 1, maybe 2 people throughout the whole, those extended hours, whether it be 1 person in the morning and nobody in the afternoon and vice versa. It averages about to 1 person a day.
well, but I don't think the public knows about
Well,
it.
No,
yeah,
it-
not
well-
everybody is aware, so they're still ticked off thinking it's the old way.
And there's a lot, I've explained a lot of people on phone calls and, that call in and say, hey, if you have bags of trash, just throw it through the window, we're open. The windows are open. But we did have when the transfer station just got finished, we did a little interview with the newspaper, and I think it was in the newspaper that there was those south windows were open from 7 to 5:30. Just trying to, and I think somebody said it was in the paper. They read it in the paper.
so have you been bringing in 2 people to do that?
I have been.
1 suffice, or do you have to have there for safety reasons?
Right now, we probably do 1. Is the truck driver, I think I'll have him just from 8 to 4:30, and that'll help cover when the floor, because I've only been letting people on the floor from 8 to 4.
Because, I mean, you're basically not pushing any trash in those
No.
extended hours.
No.
How is the operation, well, we're not done with this subject, I guess. I mean, let's figure out if we need to do any more publications or.
You need to post on Facebook once a week, maybe, something like that.
Well, and we need to make sure our information on our website is correct,
Yeah.
about what the hours actually are.
Yeah.
That's first. And then I hate to have you make a permanent sign and then 2 weeks later we change the
Yeah.
hours.
Mhm.
It'd be nice if there was a sign, but again, I hate to have it printed up and change it.
Make the sign,
Is he-
say check our Facebook
Yeah,
page
check.
for details.
Subject to change?
Well, and this whole thing is an experiment. I mean, to see what fits everybody.
Right.
That's what we're trying to do, is fit a lot of people here.
Right.
And we don't know, we're just judging off of 30 days. I mean, we don't know what the summer brings. Wintertime, I may not bring any in the wintertime, somebody in this, So I don't know whether we're making too quick a decision here to get a good feel for what we need.
I kind of agree with Randy. I think this should have been waited till spring or nicer weather. Because right now, at 5 o'clock, it's dark and people don't want to get back out.
Yeah. I don't know what the spring's gonna.
I'd like to see the hours continued as they are now.
Yeah, we need to
Let's
continue.
get some more experience, get
Till
some
May
more
and
out.
June.
Yeah, and see if that'll change, if that'll work for you.
Yeah. We want to cut it back to having just 1 person, and
Sure.
talk to the guys and.
As long as insurance is okay with it, I guess. I don't know if that's got anything to do with it or not.
I was,
Not if they're just there letting people throw away.
Yeah, just to get there and open the doors.
What
fine, just let her set till June, have a sort of a,
Yeah. let's
let her
do-
set till June 1st,
Let's
and
do it
see
till
what,
June
see what's
1st.
going on, bring it back up at June, around June 1st.
Okay.
And you, that way you can post it till June 1st. At this time, we are doing this till June 1st to, I don't know if you'd even want to do that even, I just don't think so, but.
It's getting lighter every day.
Yeah. Yeah, so, right now, just continue as is, 7
7 to 5:30.
7 to 5:30. The first person, you're bringing 2 in at 7?
That's why I wondered, you know, basically to turn the lights on and open the doors, one person could do it.
Same with shutting down, as long as you're not cleaning the floor off until the next day.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is this just for the south windows and the gates are shut?
Yes.
Okay. So, to me, that'd be a directive, no filling to the,
I've had, one person want to bring their trailer and, you know, 5 o'clock, because they don't get off work till 4.
If they can pitch it through the window.
but we're open, yeah, but we're open Saturday mornings too.
Yeah.
Well, they're working over at Headco, and they're working 10 hours a day, 6 days a week.
Yeah, and there again, I feel for the people that
Yeah.
does that, I mean, I understand that, but.
I mean, yeah, you can't. I mean, you can try to accommodate everybody,
Yes.
but
You try to be,
can only do so
you try to be flexible for the greatest number of people.
Yeah.
Good.
And like Kent said, he's had a couple of things he brought in, said, well, that's one person that's contacted you or something.
Yeah, same person.
Yeah, and so anyway, let's leave it as it is, and the people, you know what your demand is down there, and how to use your people at that. I mean, I don't want to be shifting their hours around, up and down and all over, but right now, this is a new station, and we need to figure out what works best for Marion County. And I sure would like to hear on recycling from both towns that does that, and see how they can feel about that.
Yeah.
Okay? Any difference by the commission? Okay. Thank you, Josh. Oh, wait a minute, let's see, you got something else. Recycling, that's it, okay. Transfer station, anything really? What's happening? Is there anything going wrong down there? It's not good?
That's the wrong question to ask.
It seems to be going okay, you know, there's a few things that the guys are trying to get figured out still, but, you know, it's.
I do see the truck coming in the other way.
Yes, they are going backwards. Thank you for bringing that up. They are going backwards, instead of coming in from the north, they're coming in from the south to help protect the tarp a little more.
Good.
So they started that last week, and they told me, I said, well, if we're not messing that tarp up, I'll be okay with it. So.
And the stuff that's coming in is it staying in any better, or?
If we have any type of west wind is our worst, I said, especially northwest wind. It will, anybody throws stuff into the windows, sometimes beats them before they can get turned around and out the window goes. It's a tunnel for that, so they shut down one of the doors and then shut the other one down a little tighter.
I've seen one door shut, one door tighter. Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah,
Is the garage doors down at that time? Or now, since the truck's pulling in the other way, you can't probably shut the north one?
I can't shut that north one because it sticks out of the door. That's the only problem with them going in backwards.
Any comment?
Intake air. I wonder if you get enough CFM on that east wall to negatively pressure that air to not let the wind come through. But I don't know.
A good big fan.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's just a fan.
Yeah, that's.
I don't. I'm not the CFM expert.
Me
so
neither. Yeah. Okay.
What's CFM?
It's cubic feet of it's a rating
Move
for
air.
air.
Okay. For us uneducated, you have to state the whole part.
Any other discussion? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
Hey Josh, you wanna go ahead and sign this?
All right. Something that didn't get discussed last week that I meant to, I think I just put it on for Friday's, you got Friday's meeting, right?
Yes,
Friday.
yes.
That's evaluations. Whether we take the one for, we didn't make a decision, take one and make a 2-year deal out of it, last year's and this year's. That's correct, that's what you're talking about, isn't it?
Well, you had mentioned about maybe changing the timing of them. You know, generally we do those during the fall, and that did not happen this year with election and staff change. So just kind of wanted the commissioners' input or decision on whether to just skip last year's, change the timing moving forward, or what to do with those evaluations.
So I'll put it on for, that way everybody can think about it, what you want to do with it, and I'll put it on for the meeting next week, or Friday, payday.
Okay.
And that way it'll be on the agenda. Public comments.
Oh, hey, I do have one more thing.
Uh-oh, hang on a
Sorry.
second, public. We'll get you on here in a minute.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Sheriff Kraft had come back over about that encumbrance. And that is actually for 2 phases. And so the amount of the encumbrance was actually correct. It's $114,800 that we'd be pulling from 2020 funds. And since the time that that was prepared, there have been a few changes that actually increased the cost of the phase 1 and 2 of that project, which it's like $13,000 additional in changes, and that would come out of current year funds. So the amount of the encumbrance was correct.
Was correct.
Yes, and so the way that that was laid out, you know, we do have the budget funds in 2020 budget to cover that. But we need the actual approval of the encumbrance to be able to do that, so.
Is that gonna be a deal Friday? You gonna put that on, or do you need to just vote on it now?
Just do it now.
I mean, if you're okay to do it now, that's great, but.
Total of $114,800, is that what we're looking at then to encumber?
Yes.
Okay, I'd make that motion to encumber $114,800 for the jail video project, to encumber it out of the 2020 funds year. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Dave Mueller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Okay.
Passed
Thank you.
unanimously.
Okay. I appreciate that.
Sign it.
No, you don't have to sign anything.
Thought it showed it up on the lower left.
Yeah, we haven't signed any of the encumbrances. I've just brought them, and
Okay.
that we just have an approval in the minutes for them. I mean, if you want to sign them,
No,
you
no.
can.
No, I think we have enough. We have enough fun with the change orders.
Stop it. Just stop it.
Public comments. You haven't had any saying that they can't hear me?
No,
Okay.
not since the last time. And Brad would be available for that executive
Brad will
session
be?
when you're ready, yeah.
Okay. So, do you want to do a commission comment?
Yes.
Yes.
There's commission comments?
Yes, go ahead.
For a long time, been watching, there's a number of needs and issues. I was a little disappointed when I first talked to Tina about running that there'd never been a strategic planning done or work. And I think it's time that the commission sit down and look hard at the future. And we're constantly putting out fires. Everything, we need to start looking down the road, and there were a number of issues today that, again, have been talked about in the past, didn't get done. What I would propose and ask the other commissioners just to consider is holding a planning session with Wichita State University Public Policy and Management Center. I believe you did hold one in November 2017. But I would ask that we focus on 4 issues and do it in 2 1/2 days. Do the first half day to come up with the questions where we want to go, get answers to those questions, and come back at the second half day. So
First one was us only or with them here? First.
I would say with them here.
Okay.
So they can help us identify the needs, come up with strategy, but then we're going to have questions. Well, what about this, what about this, what about this? Gather that information, and then we can have a second session to go over those. The first issue I think we need to tackle and get an answer on is a county administrator. I know some of you have been through this discussion before. I haven't, but I feel it would be worthwhile to have that discussion again. The second one would be space and building needs for the county. Again, that was a big topic today. Again, another issue that's been addressed in the past and many times, and I don't think you can get all those needs on one page of paper, from what I understand. But let's identify them all, have them in place, and come up with a plan to address them all. It's not going to be done in 2021, not going to be done in 2022. But maybe by 2030, we can make a plan to transition to address those needs. The third one would be road and bridge, and I think you've made some really good progress. What I'm seeing, and from this view, is completely different than what it was 3 weeks ago. But what I'm seeing is a lot more progress on base and permanent solutions. I know that the county engineers presented a 5-year plan with some hard questions. Those hard questions were for the commissioners to answer, and they haven't been answered. And we need to sit down with the county engineer and bring out those hard questions, and this is the time to do it before we get to budget. And then finally, economic development. I feel that's something we've got to talk about. And these 4 issues, each one could easily take a day, but we've got to start somewhere. If the other commissioners are interested in that, I think a facilitator would help us focus on the topic and hopefully come up with questions that maybe we hadn't thought about, ideas we hadn't thought about. So I'm throwing that out there. We need to look for long-term solutions. And first step in that is identifying the issues.
Do I hear any other comments?
Well, that sounds good to me.
Yeah, we did, like you said, 20, I remember meeting with them at that time. But I guess we should probably see if there's a date coming up in the next couple months, really.
Winter time is a good time to tackle before we get into.
And then also, I don't want to interrupt, but Sharon Olmsted did mention on the meeting here too. I mean, there is a comprehensive plan that has been developed and updated recently, so that would be something that you would all want to review and,
yes,
and be familiar with going into that process too.
Good.
So.
Any other comments? But you're right, in February, March, April, it's good times to, April starts burning. A lot of farmers start burning, stuff like that.
Well, I feel if we need to identify and make a plan, then we can start addressing it in the budget for next year.
Right.
Well, that budget process is gonna be here before you blink an eye, you know, as soon as they're ready.
And that goes back to these evaluations for the, that's another one that's, get it done, which would be better before the budget than after the budget.
Yep. And I'm very pleased to see that the wage plan review is coming up. We're gonna do a session on that. But start knocking these out, and we'll make some progress.
Sounds good.
So do we have authority for Tina to contact them for set up a date?
So you've got February 8th for the wage deal. That's gonna be just a 1-day deal.
That is 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock thing.
Yeah.
So we're at the end of February or January.
Yeah, we're getting there. Quickly.
Time is flying.
Yeah. February 4th.
Oh, we got another holiday coming up too.
But if the first one could be a Monday afternoon, I'd like to do in the wage.
Yeah,
Would
those work the best.
What kind of date? 22nd? 8th or 16th and 22nd? Well, that's only 2 weeks, 3 weeks, that's not giving very much time to.
Shall I contact them and see,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
if they're available to come
Yeah.
out, first
Yeah.
of all?
See what they have, and then
And-
we'll
And it may
do it
have to
around
be
them.
virtual.
They may, yeah, they may not be coming. We have to do it
I'd
virtual.
rather they be here in person.
20. See what they have.
Yeah, I'd say check with them and see, and then we can work around them.
Work around.
Okay.
If it's possible, but they.
If it needs to be a separate day, is that
Yep.
feasible?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right, I can
Thank you.
get with them.
That'll be a start. Okay, let's go back up here to Isaac and Brad. Brad we'll have a virtual. Get the cord. What are you looking at time with Brad for that? Do you think 15?
I think that should be okay.
15 minutes? I think.
You got Brad talking now.
Okay.
Jeez, start out that way.
Dave?
And that would be for contract negotiations
See, the real is,
under attorney-client.
Attorney-client contract
To
negotiations.
discuss contract negotiations.
That's pretty good. Say that.
Well, the topic it goes in the top to discuss,
Consultant for attorney with attorney-client privilege, yes.
that's the reason, that's, the topic is just whatever you say.
Contract
It'd be different.
negotiations.
So,
Okay. I move that we recess an executive session for 15 minutes. That will be from 11:55 to 12:10. Come back out at 12:10 with Isaac and the board. And Brad. Until, we'll come out at 12:10 with open session to resume back into session following the closed session. Back in this room following the closed session.
to discuss,
To discuss consultation with our attorney-client privilege.
for contract negotiations.
For
To discuss-
contract
Yeah, to
negotiations.
discuss contract negotiations.
Yes, that's my motion.
Second.
Sorry about that, I've got 3 different things thinking here. Contract negotiation, we have a second by Jonah. All those in favor?
Pursuant.
Huh? Pursuant KSA 75-4319B. You see? Second. We'll get it all done. You're second that one. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
This will be with Zoom meeting with Brad.
Okay, I'll send him a link. Okay, so we'll be back in regular session at 12:10.
Yep.
I apologize, but I do have a noon meeting I gotta get on.
Okay.
So, if you're still there at 1, I'll be back.
I hope not.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think you will.
Yeah.
Tina, is it okay to just leave stuff?
Yep.
Yes, let me get this camera off.
Okay.
do you want an update?
I don't know. There we go. I always tweak.
This conference will now be recorded.
Out of executive session, no decisions. I'd also make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second by Jonah. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4-0. Commissioner Mueller's had to step out.
Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you.
And Tina, are you done with the TV?
I'm just about.
Still?